fade. With shadow-clad armor and a will of stone, the unleashed legion fights, never alone. Through blood and bone, through fire and rain, victories echo a Tylor's refrain. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. So remember his name when the skies turn black. Artifacts that die, your lord leading the pack. For realms unknown, his legend flows. Where the shadow leads, the unleashed go. In the shadows embrace, where the blood runs deep, Artifact stands a vow to keep. Blades of anguish, hearts of dread, life stolen, the dire lord is fed. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. From silent plains where echoes will, a crimson path is dark and trim. Fear's a weapon, sharp and keen, an endless nightmare unseen. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. With shadow-clad armor and a will of stone, the unleashed legion fights, never alone. Through blood and bone, through fire and rain, victories echo a Tylor's refrain. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. So remember his name when the skies turn black. Artifacts that die, your lord leading the pack. For realms unknown, his legend flows. Where the shadow leads, the unleashed go. In the shadows embrace, where the blood runs deep, Artifact stands a vow to keep. Blades of anguish, hearts of dread, life stolen, the dire lord is fed. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. From silent plains where echoes will, a crimson path is dark and trim. Fear's a weapon, sharp and keen, an endless nightmare unseen. Rise, O dire lord, claim the night, harness the void, unleash your might. In darkness bound, yet unafraid, the legion's call will never fade. never fade. So relearn his name when the skies turn black. Artifacts that die, your lord leading the pack. For realms unknown, his legend flows. Where the shadow leads, the unleashed go. In the shadows embrace, where the blood runs deep. Artifacts stand.
All right, all right. All right, folks, welcome in and give everybody a little bit of time to pop in here. I'll mute real quick while I open this. I was muted. Twas muted. Should be coming across now. I love how it's like, hey, no pre-rolls, and then it's like, sure, we'll give you like 5 minutes before we start commercials in the stream, which is about the amount of time it takes for somebody to come in. The Wandering Wild spell. Yep. Figure I'll just do it live. Wait till these commercials end for some folks here. Should be coming up anytime now. Lighting definitely looks like it has improved in this. Like the lighting directly around the player seems better. Dossie, how you doing? Long time no see. Welcome in. All right, let's see here. Give me just a sec here. Da, da, da. All right, hopefully y'all won't hear all the chat notifications now. All right, let me get my notes up here. So while we're just chilling here, I figured I'm going to start some discussions. I was going to do a video, edit it down, all that kind of stuff, but a lot of people have been asking for my kind of direct feedback, not in like a very streamlined and edited format. And then I figured this gives people an opportunity to kind of chime in, ask questions, provide their feedback as well. So we're going to start. Let me just a second, let me scroll up here. So we're going to start with the big fish. the GM drama. So for those who don't know, oh, give me a sec, I'm getting attacked. I don't know how anyone's playing this game that doesn't know about it, but gas bat time. Right. Yep, I got the game up, but I'm going to leave it on the gassy bat here. I'm just going to park my guy for just a minute. You just realized the gassy bat has nipples? Yes, it has always been very nipples forward, actually. But yeah, all right. So let's get into it. So for those who don't know, so there was a GM seen here on Black Moon, hanging out with another guild. And one of those guild members saw what they believed to be inappropriate behavior. Okay, so regardless of how it happened, there was a named spawn that occurred directly where this GM was in the area of with this guild. Apparently he was in their Discord talking with them, and apparently does this frequently. But he's hanging out with a guild that I have seen and others have reported to me that have done some shady things in the past. You know, glitching out named mobs so that they can't attack and that they've been killed without basically taking any damage. I've heard that they've been using dire grip tactics to basically conjure. So dire grip is an AoE pull of mobs. They've been pulling those mobs onto fire pits, various objects throughout the world, which gets the mob stuck. And then they will not do this to a named or a spawn that they're interested in killing, so that they don't have to deal with any ads and they can just kill that one mob. So the official answer from VR was they had an internal investigation, and they said that no GM command was used to spawn the mob that was seen, and that it was done via a zone reset. So my initial reaction to this was, why did the zone reset? Maybe they didn't spawn the mob by using the summon command, but the zone just happened to reset right then, and the GM said this command and say. That seems a little odd. Would it be possible that the GM was resetting the zone to trigger a spawn? I don't know. But that just seems kind of odd, you know, and then the GM made a joke about it or whatever, typing out this long command that without the slash, so it was seen and say, whether that was done on purpose or out of, you know, like a joke or a mistake, fat finger, whatever it happened to be. Still, this person who was involved, legitimately had a concern. In the immediate response from VR staff was, if this is true, if this turns out to be false, we're going to ban you. So a person comes forward and says, hey, I'm seeing some, like, regardless of how the person put it, right? So if that person says, hey, I'm coming to you with a legitimate concern, I'm seeing some weird behavior, there's a GM hanging out with a guild, they're at a camp, a name spawned, I saw this line in chat that looks like they're spawning named, blah, blah, blah. And the immediate response from the staff, the representative from Visionary Realms, is, if you're lying about this, we're going to ban you. Number one, that seems very suspicious and aggressive. Number two, like, why would you, if there's no truth to it, why wouldn't you say, hey, we're going to go investigate this? Like, we're going to take this and we'll review it and blah, blah, blah. Why would the immediate response be like, we're going to ban your ass? That does not fit the query from the user. So, and this is not the first time that we've seen these kind of responses from Visionary Realms. And I want to clarify, I'm not saying that Visionary Realms doesn't give a shit about the players. That I believe that's the opposite. What I am saying is I'm concerned with some of the responses coming from VR in situations that, while I know they're stressed, they're undermanned, like, you know, I completely get that side of things. The communication out of VR has been pretty terrible, in my opinion, with the exception of Joppa and his stream. Now, anybody who tries to follow this game closely, it basically has to go to Joppa's stream to get information on the game. Like, what's coming? What, you know, when is it coming? Any and all, like, announcements happen through Joppa's stream, right? So he's been the sole source of information for Pantheon, and that's okay from like a paying attention to Joppa stream, but from a VR point of view, I'm not real happy with that kind of behavior. I would expect more official information that is not just, hey, this is what happened in the patch notes. Like, we should know what's coming, roadmap, etc. beforehand. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, so VR claims it's a zone reset. Well, I could see that two ways. One is legitimately something happened and the zone was reset. The other way I can see that is the GM reset the zone, which, oh no, a mob popped. So if they're going and scanning the logs for spawning certain mobs and not zone resets, you know, and then I'm not real thrilled with their transparency and the fact that if their reaction that they had towards this player, towards this guild, etc., the way it's looked has been kind of abrupt. And then, do I really trust that they're saying, oh, we investigated internally and found nothing? I don't know. That feels very much like damage control and less like the truth. So, but I have an issue with somebody bringing what I see as a legitimate concern up to VR and then basically threatening to ban the guy, shitting on him, and then everybody dogpiling this poor guy. And then he gets called a disgruntled ex-guild member. What? He saw a concern, they grilled his ass, told him we're going to ban you for bringing this up. So the dude leaves a guild for whatever reason. I don't care, guild member, not first-time player. You see something like that, that's concerning from a player's point of view. So, all right. So let me let me get to chat real quick. Sorry. If I recall, directly after service came up after a patch, my memories all show shit. So why is the GM with them after they're camping a mob? That's true. So that's another, another concern to bring up is, like, why is this GM just hovering around this group of folks, this guild, whatever it is? If he is a part of the guild, you have a few concerns, right? So one of them is, if they, how do I put this? If they're just chumming it up with this group, and, whether that group is just providing feedback to the GM, number one, you shouldn't be on a GM character. Number two, what's to say that GM is not giving that guild, those people, etc., inside information into the game now that you would not have learned otherwise? Like, there's a whole lot of concerns. The thing stinks, and I get it, but the handling of this has been pretty terrible. So, and like I said, this guild has also been involved, or at least reportedly, been involved with some other stuff. I've seen some questionable things. Like I said, a lot of things have been reported to me that are questionable as well. But what, like, the big question is, what could this guy be leaking to this? And this is their tech lead, like the director of technology. This is not just like a part-timer, and so big guy. And then we've had an issue in our guild where, you know, when EA first launched, Black Moon came up, got packed, they shut the server down so that people didn't shut the server down. They shut down character creation within that server. And I had a guild member of mine going, hey, all my buddies just bought this game. I'm in a guild, I'm on this server. And, like, you know, when can we expect our friends to be able to create characters? And the response from VR was, there's plenty of servers, go play somewhere else. And my guild member's like, well, I'm in a guild. I want to play with the guild that I joined. I want to play with these people, but I also want my friends to be able to play. Right. And the appropriate answer is, like, we're doing everything we can. We're going to open up character creation as soon as possible. And the response was, there's 20 servers and this is a huge deal to you? Well, it is, because the guy wants to be in the guild and he wants to play with his friends in a social MMO. While they may not have been able to do anything, the response towards that person made them basically quit the game. Because, again, VR goes on, and these people within VR, and I don't want to say VR as a whole, but this is the perception, right? These GMs, people who are speaking from VR's perspective, saying, hey, this is how we feel, you're basically shitting on your player base. And you're telling them, well, tough shit. Like, and it's completely understandable that, like, in that situation, right, we have to prevent the server from crashing. Otherwise, no one can play on it, that kind of thing. I'm not arguing that they can't just open character creation again, but the handling of that person basically made them quit. And because of that, they lost multiple subs because they can't play with their friends. They can't join their guild. And then, you know, that probably wouldn't have been an issue if they just handled it differently and said, hey, look, we're doing everything we can. As soon as we're able to, we're going to open the server back up, blah, blah, blah. And just leave it at that. But no, we're going to go on attack mode and start attacking the player base, in which you're trying to drum up more funding. So that's counterintuitive to what you're trying to accomplish. So this leads into my next point. VR's response is always defensive. It's never, hey guys, this is an early access, yada, 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 right? Like, we're doing what we can, blah, blah, blah. You know, just bear with us. It's more like, you're attacking us and we're defending ourselves. Like, no, that's not how you behave as a business, right? Like, customer service 101 is a customer's always right, even if they're not, right? You treat them as if they're right. You try to do everything you can to kind of chill out, right? You de-escalate and you work with that customer, right? These are your customers. This is your funding. And so to go on attack mode and just shit on people is not good for the business, right? It's not good for the business. It's not good for your player base who's trying to enjoy the game with their friends or otherwise. And so, you know, everybody tuned in to Joppa's stream on, what was it, Monday? And first thing Joppa says, I'm not going to address this. Also, I'm going to be less forthcoming with development information. This is their response. Now, I understand Joppa's stream is personal. It is a personal stream. It is not a direct line from VR as to what we are going to expect. Nothing is coming out of him officially, but he's been the one source of communication. Anybody who pays any attention to what's coming, what's new, being able to stay on top of the news is watching Joppa. And now he's saying, hey, I'm still going to stream this. I'm going to still show some stuff off, but I'm not going to give you any information about what's coming, what those timelines look like, etc. So, and I understand from his point of view, because it is his own personal stream. He's been bitten by this a few times by saying, hey, you know, we were supposed to have Druid already, period. Like, Druid was supposed to be out. It was like, oh, it's not this patch. It's two weeks from now. Well, that was Wednesday. That was today. Don't have Druid. Right? So that's bit him. The Unity 6 thing. Hey, we're upgrading Unity 6. Patch is coming. Got kicked out. Then the next week, got kicked out. So we're seeing him get bit by this, and I completely understand. But my problem is, where's our communication now? All of our communication's dead? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, and then if you look at almost anything controversial that's not all flowers and roses, the community manager, Savanya, dismisses almost all of it. She dismissed this as a legitimate concern and said, oh, this is drama, it's hearsay. If you're lying, we're going to ban you, etc. And this isn't just this incident. Like I said, I've given you an example from my guild, players from my guild. You know, I get tons of feedback from people saying, hey, you know, we tried to do X, Y, and Z, and we're not getting any help. And, you know, we're asking for help and not getting anything. And the communication has just been very bad. There's no transparency from VR as to what's going on. I'm going to go out of order here because I want to bleed into the roadmap next. So when anybody who played pre-early access, right? So pre-early access, we had on the Pantheon website, we had this little deal that was kind of a progress tracker. It's like, hey, this is in the pipeline. This is where we're at with testing these things, so on and so forth. So you had these action items that were put out there to kind of give you an idea as to what's being worked on, like, you know, new pet models, etc. Right? So we had at least some idea of what was happening. Okay, so early access started mid-December. That tracker is empty. Okay, it's not there. So they said, well, we're working on a roadmap. Soon we'll have an idea of what that roadmap looks like. And you know, within the coming weeks, we'll produce that roadmap. It is now February 12th. Literally 2 months later, there's no roadmap. We have no idea what's being worked on. We didn't know Unity 6 was coming until, like, what, a couple weeks ago, that was the next thing that they were working on. You know, and the only real source of information as to what's being worked on was coming from Joppa. Now, who knows what that's going to look like? So we've got no real updates. What's getting fixed? What new content is coming? What's being worked on? You know, VR got this funding, right? They've sold, you know, I'm going to say at least 20,000 copies, probably 30,000 copies at $40 each. All this new funding came in. Do we have any idea where it went? No. I'm unaware of any hires. So it's I don't know. We don't know if we're getting more devs. I'm going to say we don't really see any faster development cycles. And I know if they've brought people on, it takes time to onboard people to get familiar, do that kind of stuff. But the biggest point with that roadmap is, again, no transparency. It's VR's at radio silence. And with a crowd-funded game, that is a really, really bad idea. Right? You're relying on your users, your players to test your game, to buy the game, right, for your funding, but you're going to have little to no transparency. You're going to attack your base when they bring up questions, see questionable behavior. I don't know. And on the, yeah. And, you know, myself, several of us around me, we didn't pay $40. I didn't pay $40. I paid hundreds of dollars. I've dedicated hundreds, thousands of hours, or I would say over 1,000 hours now, towards basically PR for the game, you know, not tutorials, but guides to the game, that kind of stuff. So I've invested quite a bit myself. Lots of people have invested a lot more financially than I have. And it's not a real great way to treat your base. So we're gonna come back up into the non-drama stuff. Yeah, it's almost like being kicked in the balls. You know, and I don't want to say I've glazed VR and Pantheon. I've done a good job of talking it up, I think. But there's a lot of stuff and kind of explaining all this stuff to people, you know, prospective people to buy, because I've had at least a couple of hundred people come into my stream, talk about how they bought because of the information that I've given them, so on and so forth. So I kind of feel partially responsible for that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm making these recommendations only to have this kind of treatment reflected back on potentially people that I've told that they should buy this game, have played the game, etc. So that I'm not super comfortable with that. But I want to address some concerns outside of just the VR response. And again, I want to highlight the fact I'm not saying that everybody in VR is an asshole and that they don't give a shit about how people feel. That is not at all what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to convey, one, concerns with communication and defensiveness and transparency, right? Communication is extremely limited, and it's going to be limited further now, right? Treatment of your base, being defensive out the gate when it's uncalled for in most cases. Like, I completely get if somebody is just blasting people, is completely unreasonable, and then finally you got to shut them down and say, basically, look, if you don't, like, chill out, you know, we may have to ban you. I totally get that, but I don't get somebody bringing up a legitimate concern and then having that be the immediate response. So, and then transparency, again, it's a crowdfunded game, right? Your base is who is paying you to build this game, right? You need more transparency. So, other concerns that people have brought up over and over: solo versus group play. I want to start with on the XP, solo XP and group XP. I want to start with where things were pre-early access, right? Pre-XP changes were early access. Leveling felt fine, right? Leveling felt good. XP felt pretty fine. You know, obviously it increased in difficulty as you got higher level. It took longer to level, etc. But I could log in for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at, you know, high teens and feel measurable progress, right? With deaths. If I died, lost XP, you know, got a res, whether it was XP res or not, I felt measurable progress. Okay. Then came pre-early access XP nerf. They nerfed the XP rate by 50%. At the time, it crippled pretty much everybody that was playing. A lot of people stopped playing right then, pre-early access, and said, I don't know what they're doing. This game doesn't feel fun now. They were concerned with the heavy-handed changes, which I completely get, but also as pre-early access, they're being overreactive. They don't have time to necessarily balance, so on and so forth. But that heavy-handed change was a concern. The other thing that was a concern as well was a lot of the items that were useful and valuable that people had went and got, like myself, I got 2 feathered wind blades. They took that and made it from you can equip 2 of them to you can only equip 1, and then they nerfed the shit out of the stats. And then what we didn't know, again, transparency problem, was that the itemization changes were supposed to be sweeping across all items, right? Not just new items coming in. So again, a lot of that could have been combated with transparency instead of just being like, well, it's an early access, you get what you get. Just saying, hey, look, right? Not from Joppa's stream, like officially come out and say, hey, we're revamping items. So if you see some sweeping changes to the stuff that you're currently using, don't panic. It's going to get better. It's going to get balanced. Like, just that communication right there would have saved a lot of people a lot of frustration. Because if you don't say that and you just throw these sweeping changes out, people can think, well, this is the game now. Like, this is how it's going to be. And it doesn't feel good. So post that, right? A lot of people stopped playing. I stopped playing. A few other people stopped playing because the XP and that item nerf happened at the same time. Right? So now you get shit for XP compared to what you were getting. And also your weapons are like 30 or 40% less than what they were. So now you get XP at half the rate and you kill at 60% of the speed. Right? Like, oof. So just imagine today, if you logged in and you got half the XP and only did 60% of the damage with no communication. Like, hey, this is coming. Like, don't panic. Zero communication. I tell you, your character is 50% leveling XP, and now it's only 60% of what it was yesterday. No transparency, no communication. Players quit. So what did they do? We're gonna dial that XP back to 25% or 30% or whatever it was, a 30% penalty instead of 50% penalty. Like, okay, but what was wrong with the XP? Yeah, and a 2-minute fight is now a 5-minute fight. Yep. I don't think anybody had any problem with the leveling speed that was then, because you felt like you got measurable progress. So developer me thinks they're trying to slow you down, right? They know that they don't have a lot of content at 25 plus, 20 plus, whatever it is. Okay. So we're going to time gate people by just making the XP a crawl, right? Because we don't want people to power through X, Y, and Z. Right. So again, a lot of this could have been combated with just communication. Hey, we're slowing XP down. We believe it's a little too fast, blah, blah, blah. But when you do that, again, you're making it more painful for your established player base. They're going to understand because they know it's testing. They signed up for this. They're signing up to play a pre-alpha basically at that point. But again, communication could have helped. So post early access, right? So early access begins and a lot of players are buying the game and chiming in about, hey, I play solo because everybody seems to have their little group going and I don't have tons of time to play. So the reaction from VR was, cool, we're going to tune up solo play. I have no problem with solo play, right? I believe you need to be able to have measurable success in a shorter window, right? Whatever that looks like, whether it's crafting, it's doing some quests, it's, just killing a couple of solo mobs and make your XP bar move. That should absolutely be a thing, right? I'm not saying don't play a solo. Like, you should be able to have manageable and you should have measurable success as a solo player, right? Because people want to play solo when they don't have those big windows. While the game's not designed around that, they decided, okay, we're going to buff solo play. Okay. So what did this lead to? Solo play led to, hey, I don't want a group now because solo XP is faster than group XP on a group focused game. And so that the combat of this was, well, you get gear in a group. Okay. So I get better gear in a group. I don't understand that as a win in the long run. Okay, so let's say most players start at what? Level 1, right? All of us. So if I'm going to out-level that gear pretty quickly, right? I'm going to get to level 10, level 15, and the shit that would be dropping is going to be irrelevant. That first tier of stuff is going to get out-leveled pretty quickly. So I don't really care about grouping from level 1 to 10, 1 to 15, because I'm not really interested in that gear. Like patching slots, the gear doesn't make that large of a difference. So like, especially say I'm a caster, okay? As a caster, you give me a full set of int gear, okay? And you have a naked caster. There's not a dramatic performance difference between the two. So for me, at least, the argument of you get gear in a group is somewhat invalid. Unless you got some god tier drop at level 10, right? Like that doesn't exist. It doesn't really, gear doesn't matter at lower levels. Okay. Not saying it doesn't matter at upper levels, and not saying the gear is all worthless, but the measurable performance of a piece of gear or pieces of gear that you would have gotten in a group, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to ignore you over here too. Yeah, well, it's EA State. A lot of games going to change. We all know this. We all do know this. Yes, absolutely. I'm playing a shaman. My dots don't level past level 9. Yep, that's a important point. Doesn't help the gear that with the gear that you're only about 10% more effective than if you're naked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then gear isn't as impactful as all. It's not a great motivator to play in a group. 100%. So what I have seen as a leader of a large guild, to which a lot of folks have quit, playing the game in general, is because they can't get a group. Like, I've made it a point in my guild to say, hey, let's put together static groups so that maybe if you can't play all the time, it's fine. Just get in when you can. It's further, I mean, there's the shard system, which is great for overflow, but it's really, really rough when I'm trying to communicate as a guild leader or any guild officer, or hell, as just a player in a guild. I have to go hunt, especially on Black Moon. I have to go hunt 4 different shards to see if people are on, right? Or I've got to communicate through Discord. A lot of people don't want to be Discord junkies to play a game, right? Like, especially on the more casual side. So it's been very hard to communicate from that point of view. So, but this has led to, oh, solo XP is better. Okay, well, I'm just going to play solo. Well, it's a group focused game, and some of the best elements of this game are on the group side. But people are always going to go where the XP is. So it's just been kind of counterintuitive to kind of what's going on and what people are wanting to see out of the game. So that's been the biggest #1 complaint that I've had from people in the stream, people messaging me, comments on videos, is I can't find a group. I'm on the most populated server. I cannot find a group for my life. And not just in Wild's End with that whole fiasco at the beginning where there was no tanks in Wild's End, and it was almost impossible for people to get there without dying, getting frustrated, and quitting. So that's a whole different topic, which they should have had teleporters in, at least in the early stage, until Wizards got ports, etc. But anyway, that's a completely different topic for another time. So, but the counter to this is, okay, now solo XP is better than group XP. People don't want a group now. When I'm looking for a group and I see somebody soloing, I say, hey, you want to join us? Nah, XP's better. Now I can't even recruit for my group in a solo or in a social MMO because it's not worth the time investment. Okay? Like, it's very frustrating. The result is people are getting frustrated. People are quitting. Now, they may not be quitting for the long term, but they're quitting now because they're like, the game is just not fun like this. And to Grass's point, they find time to nerf. They don't find time to make the game more fun. I understand it's a challenging game. They want it to be challenging. They want it to be difficult. They want it to be punishing, but it has to be fun on top of that. And another issue with the group side of things is, well, if I get in a group and I go to explore, let's say, Goblin Caves, right? So a lot of people are going to have references to what I'm talking about, the Goblin Caves. If I go down the Goblin Caves and I get down to do my acclamation quest, I'm trying to get my enchanted quill. I pull 2 geomancers, right? Just 2 mobs. and my group has problems handling it and we die. Now, I've lost more XP with that death with an XP res than I got getting there. Right? Like, make death punishing, but don't make eating 2 deaths eliminate every bit of progress that you got for the evening. Because now you have to do corpse run. You have to clear back down. Go get your corpse, or, you know, with that's early access when that first came in, corpse summoning wasn't a thing yet. So again, this, you know, that's relatively, I'm not going to say new, but it's relatively new. So that aspect of it helped with the speed to kind of get back to where you progress. But exactly, I've seen more people log off because of death frustration in this, because they know they're not going to get that XP back for the rest of the day. Yeah, groups should be able to manage 2 mobs. Yep. And that 2 mobs, like, you know, CC, that's a whole different topic. I don't want to get into that. We can go down a rabbit hole about crowd control. But it has led to a lot of people who absolutely love the game to say that they've turned the dial up to 11 too much. Like, we're going too far in one direction. And a big perception of that is, I don't want to go completely back over towards the favoritism side, but a group of large donors, or, you know, buddies with some staff or whatever, may have more pull than the rest of the community. And I understand designing the game. I'm going to say this is 100% a niche design. 100%. This is not designed for everyone who has ever wanted to play an MMO. Brutality without reward is a waste of time. Why should I be punished for essentially nothing? That is exactly the point. Getting our ass kicked in Wild's End by a single gray chevron goblins that occupy 75% of the zone is not fun at all. I mean, we got destroyed, so we had to grind geckos, gas bats. Yep, raptors, owlbears, all overland mobs that are spread out. It's just not fun right now. Yep, that's exactly my point. I don't think anybody has a problem with challenging. I don't think anybody has a problem with punishing. But I do think a lot of folks have a problem with the severity of punishment and the challenge that doesn't need to be a challenge. Like combat, I completely get the combat side of things, right? Because one of the things I really do like about the game, and I will say this, I really do like that mobs have a little bit more hit points. I'm not just instant murking group mobs. Okay. Like I do like that. And part of the reason that it's designed that way, and part of the reason I like it, is because of the technique system, right? If I need to combo off of another player to debuff a mob, like bring its armor down, bring its resistances down, slow it, that kind of thing. If I'm having to combo with another player, in order to highlight that system, I can't make a like combat 20 seconds, right? Like it needs to be a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. It does not need to be 5 minutes a kill. And then when you see that 5-minute kill and you look down and say, oh, like I can measure the amount of XP that I gained over the last 15 minutes with a toothpick, like the width of a toothpick. That's not fun for anybody. I don't think anybody wants to go back to classic EverQuest hell levels. Period. Like the challenge and getting through those, yes, it was super awesome, but it's wafer thin. Yeah, after dinner mint. The group that played then does not have the same amount of time now, right? Most of your demographic is people 30 plus. Like that's the target. And I'm not saying there's not young people playing this game. There absolutely are. There's people in their 20s playing the game. I know that. But most of the people that are playing this game are 30 plus. They don't have 8 hours a day to try to feel like they've made, progress. Exactly. Small town. I was 22 years old, had time to play EQ. Yep. I'm retired, so I have time, but I don't represent the majority. This is true. There are plenty of people that are retired that are playing and they do have the time. But also, maybe you don't want to spend 8 hours trying to get 2 bubbles of XP, So, and then one telling thing that I want to bring back up, just going back to the XP part, we started to transition to the combat. But the XP part was did a group of players hit 40, like roughly around the same time, or was it one person? It was one person that rushed to 40. Solo XP is faster than group. That was already proven. So, but again, you want people to be able to play the game, be able to get shit done in real life, but also have meaningful progress. Plain and simple. And that's just not what's going on right now. And it's frustrating a lot of people, and a lot of people are they're shelving the game. I heard the first person to hit 40 boxed. That's entirely possible. I'm not sure. But I didn't see, hey, a group of people have made it to 40. Combat. All right. So we were talking about combat. So the base damage, like you were saying earlier, with the gray chevron mob just beating your ass, like they've even toned that down. Gray chevrons who are trivial will absolutely wreck like a rogue. Yeah, exactly. There needs to be some middle ground. You don't want, hey, I hit 80 in 4 days. Completely get that. I don't think anybody who's playing this wants that. And I also don't want everything to be like, get to max level, then the game begins. I'm so sick of that kind of argument of like, well, the game doesn't really start until 60. No, I want the game, like part of the reason I'm not balls to the wall leveling, I wanted to check out all the things. I want to check out all the classes. I want to look at all the little nooks and crannies in the caves. Like most people don't know, in the goblin caves, there is an undead camp. It's almost impossible to break, but there's an undead camp in the goblin caves. Most people don't know that because they're rushing. They're like, I got to get to the next level. I got to get to this. And I understand that side of things, right? It's exciting. You don't know what the next cave is going to be. You don't know what the next drop is going to be. That's fantastic. Like, I love that. And if that's how you want to play, fantastic. That's cool. You play the game how you enjoy it. I'm just saying, from my point of view, the entire game should be fun, not, hey, I'm going to suffer my ass off through a level 50 grind, and then all the fun is going to happen at 50. No, I want there to be named and shit to camp. I want there to be cool items to go after, that kind of stuff that make a viable difference in your character's strength at lower levels. And that's what we don't see. There's been plenty of cool shit you can stumble on, underwater caves coming out of the backside of the Barrow Dark, right? Or, hidden caves inside of a cave. Lots of cool stuff. But we also want to have rewards along with that, especially given the challenge and the difficulty that is put in front of us and the punishment. So none of that is balanced. And again, it is an early access. This is not what it's going to look like at 1.0. But that needs to be stated instead of like status quo. And I feel like we're so, and I've been accused of it too. We're so sensitive to VR in some aspects of like, well, we're just happy to have what we have now. I agree with that too. I've been waiting since 2014, just like everybody else, from the Kickstarter, etc. But also we want this game to last, right? So, the technique system is one of the best things to happen to the game combat wise. So I completely understand long kills. I have no problem with long kills. The XP for that long kill should be increased, right? If you're going to reduce kill time, you should increase kill XP. And I don't feel like that happened or didn't happen very well on top of the nerf. Like I said, that nerf killed a lot of people in early access. Once they got to 20 plus here, they're seeing how long it takes to level. And the fact that if they die once or twice, basically their night is wiped out. They don't feel like it's balanced. They stop playing. So there's a reason we haven't seen the Joppa post saying, oh, guess what? We broke a new concurrent player record. Because people are getting to those levels now where basically you have no progress over several days of play because you died. Or you have very minimal progress. And so they don't feel like the time that they've invested to the XP that they've gotten has been worth it. So it's just something it needs to be balanced and needs to be addressed. And I feel like a lot of times, like, oh, we've just got too much to do. Like, well, that's your core gameplay. That is your core gameplay. You cannot wait till 1.0 to address that. Because people aren't going to get to, like, the most hardcore people are going to get there either way, right? Because they want to be like, I got there, look what I did, pat me on the back, etc. Like high skill, high playtime players. Not everybody's high skill, not everybody's high playtime. So those people are basically just getting shit on and saying, okay, well, you're not part of the demographic that we were shooting for. That's how it feels to them. So, and it's really rough. Again, comes back to understanding your base and making that kind of stuff accessible for everybody. Don't water it down, but give those people a path to success as well. The person who's going to play 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, they're going to play 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, no matter what. The people who want to casually play a social MMO that is challenging, that's the people you have to hone in on. Right? And I think that's the people that are being forgotten right now. And I get it. It's probably not consciously forgotten. It's most likely we don't have enough staff. Don't know how many staff they have, right? We don't know what's going on again. And I don't feel like they're getting a pulse of the people that they need to be taking into consideration. Because a lot of those people are not going to just sit and chat and yell and scream. The people who sit and chat and yell and scream are your high playtime, right? High skill players that are saying, oh, it's not hard enough. Like, okay, cool. Well, that's your opinion. And you're one of a few people that do it. So it's just it's discouraging for me to see all these people come in and go, man, I really love the game, but I don't feel like I'm getting, I'm not getting anywhere. I don't feel like the time that I'm investing, I'm getting anything out of it. And they're reducing their playtime or stopping until later on. And you want more active people playing because the whole point of the early access was we need more testers, right? We need the player base to test the game. If half your player base leaves, there's still half left and they're going to test the game, but you're losing all your volume. You're losing what those people could have discovered. You're probably losing your casual base. They're designing it for too small of an audience. I think you're absolutely correct. I think, again, it is not understanding your base. And I don't want to get into politics, but the same thing can be said about certain political things where the person who screams the loudest is not the majority in 99% of cases. A 100%. 100%. Bostova. All right, guys, it looks like we're about to start an ad break. I'm going to do a raffle here on Twitch. So if you're over here on Twitch, I'm going to do a raffle. It's going to last 240 seconds. You got plenty of time. Go grab something to drink. Go grab something to nibble on, that kind of thing. Use the restroom. Before you leave, though, hit that exclamation mark join. You get an opportunity to win 50 Arthaxium. Arthaxium is used to buy tickets for a giveaway. We're giving away a copy of Pantheon here in February. Just being in, subscribing, watching, any bit donations, follows, all that stuff earn you cash. So earn you Arthaxium. If you subbed, Captain Norg, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. 3 months in a row. You just got 500 Arthaxium for your sub, which is equivalent to 10 entries in the giveaway. So, but the giveaway will happen at the end of the month. We'll raffle it off. You do not have to be present for the giveaway. You only need to buy your tickets. If you win, I'm going to give a couple of days for the person to claim it and then do a giveaway. So, oh, we're at commercial. But looks like we got some entries. Good deal. Torque. That is true, Torque. Pay to win. Pay to win. Oh, it already go up? That's weird. It still says ads in progress for a minute 45 on my monitor. Huh. Yep, literally says a minute 35 seconds until ads finish. Maybe you had short ads. I don't know. All right, let's see. So Todd says, still hope it succeeds. We have followed for a very long time. It just doesn't seem to be turning into the game we'd wanted, though. Thanks for the stream, man. Yeah, not a problem, Todd. Thank you for stopping in, dude. I appreciate you. All right, everybody's saying they finished. Bezos needs more money. Yeah, exactly. That's so part of the reason for this, like having this conversation. One is for your feedback, right? I want to see how you guys feel about it. Maybe I'm just far off base. This is only how I feel and what I've heard from my community. But the whole reason for this is not so, yeah, I dropped 1,000 in 2014. Yep. I'm right there with you, man. If I didn't give a shit if this game succeeded or not, I wouldn't be doing this. I would have been like, well, I don't think this game's going where I want it to go. I'm just going to play something else. And I will admit, I've played WoW. I've played some Satisfactory. I've played, a couple of shooter games and stuff. Kind of one, I don't want to burn out from the game because I spent basically September through January. It was just been all Pantheon 100% of the time. Like I took a month and a half off just creating content, streaming the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been all Pantheon. I need a little bit of a breather. So I've played a few other things. Obviously, we're going to continue to play Pantheon. But the whole reason I'm doing this is because I believe in the game. I believe in what the game can become. I want to help provide my feedback, however that is, whether it's on stream, whether it's bug reports, saying things in Joppa stream, etc. It's been a lot. And so I think this is a way for me and for you guys, right? Because the developers stop in. There may be one in here right now. There may be one and watches later to see concerns of people. that maybe are not the very small demographic that shouts the loudest. So, oh, Bostova, Moku, Night Eyes, and Torque with a raffle win. Nice, 12 each. You can check how many points you have by exclamation mark points. Once you get to 50, you can do, if you do points Torque, it'll tell you what rank you are too, I believe. But, yep. Ooh, Torque number 1. Torque's got 1,000. 1,000 Arthaxium. Holy shit, you got a lot of purchases, sir. Torque hacks, yep. But if you do exclamation mark giveaway, it's going to give you a link. You can bookmark that if you're a regular, if you're just stopping in and just want to check it out. You're probably not going to get enough for the giveaway, but you get points just by being in chat, just watching. And then obviously if you follow, if you sub, etc., you get more points. If you are a subscriber, you get double watch points. So for every I think it's you get a point every 5 minutes. If you were a subscriber, you get 2 points every 5 minutes. So, but all those rules are part of the exclamation mark giveaway. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. I dropped playtime because I'm waiting for Druid and more 20 plus content. That's where I'm at. I'm in the 20s with my tank. Again, part of me doesn't want to like spoil so much stuff. Another part of me is like, most of that stuff's going to change by the time 1.0 comes out anyway. So I'm a little torn on trying to just push to the bleeding edge, like to the top levels. But at the same time, I also want to experience that. So I'm a little torn. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm waiting for a little more content to come. I'm waiting for Druid because I have to do the Unleashed Druid video. iChecks, you've described my experience perfectly. I really enjoyed the time I've played, but I stopped feeling as I was being rewarded for my time. If I died, I would take ages to get back to where I was at the start of the session. Exactly. Yep. And there's a lot of people that feel like that. And that's, again, part of the reason I'm doing this is because I want people to understand the pulse of the average player. The hardcore players, again, they're going to play regardless, right? Unless they just do not have fun. So, I'd be very careful around designing around that type of player. Like, you want them to enjoy themselves, but you also want the casual player who's going to be your majority, right, to continue to play. So, yeah. A player warrior says always first get killed too. Being a tank can be painful. That is another great point. Yep. So not all deaths are created equal, right? Some of us die a lot more than others. But yeah, that's a good point. All right, let me get back to my notes here. I want to cuddle it. Oh, the gassy bat. I love the gassy bat, man. It's my favorite thing. I've told Bronson. So Bronson didn't design this. I forget who did. But I told him, I was like, I would love to see VFX for when he dies, like when he hits the ground, like a little green cloud shoot out and like a little tiny fart noise, like when it dies and falls and hits the ground. I love the gassy bat though. He's so cool. That's we need more of this kind of comedic stuff to exist in games too. Like, you know, just a little comedy aspect of it, I think is really good. But going back to kind of combat. So, you know, you've got folks like Shaman are like jack of all trades. They're really good regardless of what they're doing. Are they healing? They're good. Are they soloing? They're good. You know, are they doing DPS? They're good. And then you have Rogue. Right? You have Rogue, you have Enchanter, And I get not every class is going to be able to solo equally, but some classes you can't even solo on. You have to get a group, right? So class balance feels. Let me clarify. The kits are good. I think everybody has their thing that they do really well. And so I think the kit across the board is good. The class design is pretty well. I think the efficiency at which they do those things is not. And one thing I want to bring out as an example is, say, Summoner. Okay. So Summoner, if you played in early access, you had a nuke, you had Mana Bomb. So what they did is they took Mana Bomb and they said, okay, when you throw Mana Bomb on somebody, it blows up. And when it blows up, it returns some mana to the caster. Fantastic change. It's really good for mana management, similar to how, like, you know, if a wizard manages his elemental foci really well, his mana regen will be higher. And so you have some like balancing to do, right? That makes an engaging combat system. So that I really do like. But they took Summoner, and I get it thematically why they did it. They took your Summoner nuke and said, okay, now instead of pushing a button and you nuke a mob, now you summon a spike. And then you summon a spike. And then you summon a spike. And then you send all the spikes. So now for me to nuke, I have to cast 4 times for 1 set of damage. Thematically, fantastic, right? You summon a spike, you summon a spike, you summon a spike, you're a summoner, and then you send the spikes. That's cool, thematically. But instead of making that design choice, how about that nuke takes a really long time? And it doesn't have to be like super long, but it takes a long time, and you see a spike get summoned, and you are channeling it again, and a spike is summoning a part of your cast time, and then another spike is summoned, and then you send it. Right? Like, that, I think, is a better solution than press a button, press a button, press a button, press a button, 1 set of damage. Like, I don't get that design decision. Thematically, okay, I understand that. But again, we're now taking a skill and we're making it less fun. Thematically appropriate, not fun, right? Like, we need to make sure that we're understanding the effect of what we're doing. So, and then exactly, resist. Yep, I just cast 4 fucking spells and it got resisted. So 4 casts, 0 damage. So I would like to see 1 hit chances on all 3 spikes, and it be a channeled thing that maybe, like Torque said, you cancel it early, it sends 2 spikes instead of 3, whatever. But yeah, I'm not going to say it's completely bad design, because yeah, you can charge before a mob comes in, right? Like, I can be holding those spikes for a period of time and keep it ready to go. And to that side, like, understand that there's some flexibility there, right? Maybe I don't need 3 spikes worth of damage on this mob, but I think there's other ways that you could do that would make it still fun and not feel as taxing. Especially on resists. Like, resists are really painful. Yeah, exactly, Hack. That's exactly what I was talking about. So, like, you know, I think having each individual spike have its own damage resolution, so that even if there is a resist, the chances of them resisting all 3 is probably slim to none. So it's not as like, oh my god, I just cast 4 spells to get 0 damage. That feels very, very bad. So, but, you know, some other classes have, like rogue, right? I have to, as a rogue, if I want to solo, I need to use waylay. I can't use backstab. So, which means I have to change my weapons out just to solo in most cases, right? Because again, with the technique system, you have to carry multiple weapons as a rogue or as a melee, right? Because whatever weapon I damage with determines the outcome of that debuff, right? So like I want to pierce armor, then I have to consume that debuff with piercing damage in order to do pierced armor. And then if I want to slow, I may have to use a blunt weapon or that kind of thing. So you already have to have multiple things, but if I have 2 really good daggers, I can't solo if I don't have a good blunt weapon. So, that kind of stuff, again, not every class is going to be able to solo as effectively as the other. And that makes total sense. I completely get that. But again, balancing. Yep. And can't swap weapons and fight. Yep. So if you're running with 2 daggers and you aggro a light blue, good luck. Probably not going to survive unless you outrun it. So. Do you think maybe a slow poison buff would go a long way to helping a rogue solo or not? I do think they were talking about like the explosive jackets and some of that stuff. Thematically didn't make any sense to me. Like I gave rogue a suicide vest. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, and they've changed it, but they definitely need to do something. Yeah, a life tap dot poison that doesn't completely suck. That's true. And they are doing things to improve. They're trying to do things to improve that, and I understand that, and it's not going to be an overnight thing, but again, if somebody's coming just to play rogue, or rogue is their preferred class, it's just not functional right now. So, and it's not like, druid or bard where they know it's not out yet. So it can just be very, very frustrating. But I guess my point on the combat stuff is there's a lot of things that they've done with the combat system correctly. They've done some things they're fantastic. The interaction between party members with the technique system is fun and it's engaging. Outside of that, there's a lot of things in combat that are they're out of touch with what makes MMOs fun. I don't think anybody wants to fight a normal group mob for 8 minutes. Boss fights in almost every MMO don't last 8 minutes. And here you could fight, the Eastern Plains chickens for like 8 minutes, or, in some cases, like, How Near Cave Ghosts, if they get that one debuff off that basically reduces your incoming melee damage to it by like 60% or whatever. I understand that mob is meant to have that mechanic as challenging, but you don't want to we don't want that turned up to 11, right? We don't want it 0. We don't want it 5. We don't want it 11. Okay. There's this whole space in between, which we can, make some concessions. So, and just based on some stuff that I've heard on Joppa stream, like we don't get to play the game enough. That's evident because you are /command getting your fucking gear and adjusting your character to be what you think that level should have, instead of organically playing the game and understanding how everything feels, and then taking that into consideration out of a developer's point of view. Play it as the user, right? You have to develop for the user, not for yourself, knowing every individual detail about the entire game. Not saying that, right, you don't want people to be able to learn and adjust and whatnot to those mechanics, Like that's huge too, right? You need to learn a mechanic so that you can progress through that mechanic. But at the same time, if I don't have the perfect group comp or somebody misses, you know, the armor debuff, that shit lasts for the whole fight. So one mistake is made and that fight goes from 2 to 8 minutes. Not fun. It's just not fun. And again, this is like a normal mob. Like you're going to encounter this mob many times. This is not a named mob. This is a normal everyday mob in Hell Near Undead or Ghosts. They have to be very careful about making that the average mob. So it just feels a little out of touch, in my opinion, and that's a lot of what feedback I've gotten from others. Transitioning to crafting. So sorry, this is long-winded. I'm sorry, I did a giant dump. I was going to make this long video and I started doing it. And then I'm like, you know what? I think it would be valuable for me and other people that watch this to see it's not just my opinion, because you guys can chime in on chat, right? But crafting seems relatively useless to me. And I'll give you an example. So you can go at like 10, 12, and you can get a stat bow that is about the same, maybe slightly less as good than a crafted bow. But the crafted bow, to get to that level, you have to find the schematic for, number one. You have to find the materials for it, number two. And then you have to work your crafting skill to craft that bow. So if I'm doing that independently, there is no reason for me to go get that bow, because by the time I would have done all of those steps, I could have gotten that bow already. Number two, let's assume I didn't go get that bow. That drop bow I could purchase off of shit that I made in the newbie yard at level 5. Why would I go through the steps of crafting this bow? Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be somebody that's like, I wanted to make every piece of gear that I wear. It's like somebody that does solo self-found, right? No problem with that. But that's not the norm. Okay. So there's so much of the crafting system that's like this. It's rendering most of the crafted stuff relatively useless, other than the fact that you can say that I made my own gear. Because it takes so long to get that thing made that you already have outleveled it. And it looks like, and I'm not a crafting expert, but I'm just taking feedback that I've gotten from the community on my videos, etc. It doesn't feel worth it or rewarding. So the vast majority of what I have heard is that anybody who makes a second character is just picking up alchemy and provisioning. That's it. Because outside of buying bags or bank boxes, you're just getting stat food and potions. So again, people are going to be using the stuff that's crafted. I'm not saying everything is shit. I'm just saying that it seems like it, in a lot of cases, can be a waste of time. So that side of things needs balancing, as does most of the game. Again, just putting this out there as a holistic overview of how I see the game and how people have said that they've seen the game. We've covered the roadmap. So, what else am I going to go after? So takeaways from this conversation. If you joined late, you just joined. If Phil's a big fan of the first version of Vanguard crafting, he hero worships the dev that came up with their poops, that poop fest. They had to redo that one in Vanguard. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's so many ways you can go with the crafting system. My belief is that the crafting system should absolutely 100% be viable. If I'm going to invest the time to go, number one, get schematics, and you got to either buy them, go get them out of boxes, get them as rare drops, etc. If I go do, and I like, the argument is, oh, well, if you kill a rare mob and that rare item drops, that item has dropped, okay, off the rare mob. Now, if I have that same mob drop a schematic, that schematic in my mind should be more powerful than the dropped weapon. Period. Unless that is like an ultra rare on the drop where it's like, oh, there's a 10% chance for the schematic, 10% chance for a weapon, and then there's like a 0.1% chance for the ultra rare, right? The ultra rare should trump the crafted, but the crafted should trump the just drop weapon. Because if the crafter has to go kill the mob and get the schematic, and then the person can just go kill a mob and get the item, why in the world would I ever bother in crafting that item? Unless there is no other option for that item, there's no reason to craft that. I'll just kill the mob 2 or 3 more times and get the weapon, rather than have to go get all of the fucking dusts and gems and materials to craft the item. More time is going into the crafted version in most cases than the just getting the item. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it there's an interdependence on top of that in the crafting system where you can't necessarily make it all for yourself. So you're further punishing the crafter. And then you're saying, well, now I'm going to limit the number of crafting items that you can do, which I completely get. Okay, you don't want one character that does all of the crafting stuff in most cases, unless you're going the route of saying, okay, well, let me go back. Let me take a step back. I would not be opposed to a player playing this game exclusively as a crafter. Period. Never have to go kill a mob. Period. I would not be opposed to that. If you want to play this game and you want to buy all of your harvested materials, or if you want as a level 5 or whatever, right, to go to the highest level areas and mine this shit and risk your life, or just buy it from people, why shouldn't you be able to do that? Why do we need to have a crafter go? If I'm a blacksmith, I need to go fight a dragon so that I can learn how to make bronzed armor? That makes no sense. And I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, let the player develop a system that allows the player to decide how they want to play the game. Right? Guide them, but let them do it. You know, Star Wars Galaxies, you used to be able to just sit in a fucking cantina and just buff people. And that's how some people want to play the game. What's wrong with that? Maybe they want to have a tune that just sits there and shoots the shit in a fucking cantina or a tavern and just buffs people. Maybe they have a tune that just wants to sit at a fucking forge as a dwarf and bang out weapons. So, but again, the crafting is not in a final state, as is none of this. But I believe it's warranted to sit there and say, maybe open some of these things up. I just want to sell death sticks. Yep, Torque wants to make cigarettes. He just wants to make that sweet nicotine. Yep, what is wrong with being non-combatant? Holy shit. Scared me. Oh, my hype train started. Scared the shit out of me. I was like, what is all this noise in my head for? Like, finally, my hype train finally popped up. That is awesome. That is true. That is true. With every 5 gifted, which Bostova, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. With every 5 gifted or greater, we pour out some booze. And I came prepared. I'm finally glad to see my my little dragon deal. I've got to tweak it. It's not in its final form, but it's pretty cool. So if the hype train levels up, there's another one, and then there's one when eventually the hype train stops. So it's pretty cool. Which you will. I'm not going to spoil it. The end is the end of the hype train is great. And oh, that's level 2, and there's a hype train going on. So congrats everybody. Oh, let me get that here. So with a hype train, when the hype train ends, whatever that level is going to be the multiplier for the amount of Arthaxium that everybody in chat gets, by the way. So if we go up to level 3, everybody's going to get 150. At level 2 right now, everybody is going to get 100. Okay, how you doing, man? Thank you, sir. I appreciate. And then let me hit everybody with a whole bunch of old fashions here. No, it's not. I don't do that one anymore. I do this. Blam! I love that emoji. I did such a good job in that one. All right, let me get the hype train stuff ready. I've still got to get my binds up here. All right, there we go. Thank you for reminding me to get my binds in order. All right, here we go. But yeah, so we are drinking 1835 bourbon here, distilled here in Texas. So it's vanilla and caramel finish, which is really, really good. It's very desserty, very desserty. Bostova is making me drink and then gives the nasty face. But I greatly appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much for your support. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, back to the conversation. Where did my window go? Where's my notes? All right, so things that we've covered so far. So the GM incident with the favoritism and how they've Flexler quit the over this controversy, gave us all its gear and left. Yeah, I had a brief conversation. I told him I was, I don't feel like the response towards him was fair. you know, he should have been alarmed by what he saw. Fucking love that. Hype train is over. Thank you guys so much. Yep, he brought it to light. He was a whistleblower, and they absolutely crucified him for it. And I can't say that, you know, if I was critical of VR and they responded in kind to me the way that they did, I don't know that I'd still be playing. I really don't. When you say, hey, I see something that's questionable, and you bring it to someone's attention, and the immediate response is, you know, we're gonna fucking ban you if this is false. What? Like, that's the equivalent to calling the cops and say, hey, I see somebody that's like peeking in my neighbor's window. And the police officer says back to you, or this dispatcher says back to you, that if they come out there and they don't see anybody, then you're going to get arrested. Why in the shit would anybody react that way to that kind of scenario? That makes no sense. Well, cool. That means the next time something happens and I see somebody about to get robbed, fuck them. I'm not getting arrested for it. Like, what? That's not a measurable response. Like, that again leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was some truth behind it. Because that sure seems like maybe they found something, or I don't know. But definitely Mixel. Yep, a crafter class. I would not be opposed to that. Yeah, VR official policies. Snitches get stitches. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I was trolling people. I typed it in without a slash as a joke. So you took somebody's legitimate concern, poured fuel on it, and then crucify the guy for being concerned. Yeah, I classify as an advanced tester now. Yep. And pre-early access, I will say that that my static group, pre-early access, volunteered to do advanced testing for the game in a group setting. Anything they wanted to do, without streaming it, without any of that, I would have done that. So they had volunteers that were not $40 buy-ins that were more than happy to do that for them, and we heard nothing back. So, and I will say too, with the exception of this video, anything that I have released, whether it's on stream, on video, etc., that I thought might be in any way against the will of what VR wanted to be seen, I have had it approved. That includes using graphics, like using some of their videos that they've put out, etc. I've approved all of that through VR. This is the first thing that I'm saying, okay, I don't see anything wrong. Everything that I'm talking about is public knowledge or has been reported to them. But yeah, I completely agree. Zero respect for Savanya after this. I don't understand. I mean, I feel really bad for Flexler. I really do. He did not deserve that, and he really enjoyed this game, and I don't blame him for quitting. Yeah. Yep. The $30 poor people. What y'all doing? Silly puppers. Y'all doing midget wrestling? All my babies are over here playing. They're jumping around, making a ruckus. If you haven't seen them, here's all my babies. Look at all these babies. They're so cute. Boom. Aren't they so adorable? Anyway. Yeah, gotta be one of them good old boys. I saw a video of Guild fighting Crystal Wyverns that gets teleported to raid. Then it gets teleported to the raid of Subterfuge. Teleported. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was talking about the Oki one. So when I heard about this, the very first time I heard about this, I knew exactly what guild it was. I didn't know what server. I didn't know any details. I heard about a GM hanging out with a guild in Pantheon, and I said, I'm pretty sure it was Subterfuge. And Smiter actually said, you were right. You were right on the nose as soon as we found out what guild it was. I was like, go figure. Because we've seen them do several shady ass things. In game, I've heard nothing but a bunch of people talking about how other things were happening. So, exploits where people are dire gripping stuff onto different parts of either terrain or objects and getting them stuck so that they can split camps and, basically exploiting. And, at the beginning of the stream when I was talking about it, I was like, let's take the spawning of a mob out of this. If a GM is sitting there buddy, and I know this is not the first game that this has happened. If a GM is sitting there buddy with another guild or even playing with that guild or whatever, maybe a member of the guild, what is to say he has not given those folks internal knowledge that they otherwise should not have had on things like exploits? And we just came from a ban wave going out of, oh, well, we ban these people for these exploits. Well, what about, we're going to go from banning people from exploiting to a genuinely concerned player that is framed as a disgruntled ex-guild member, and then turning around and doing something like this. I don't know. It's very concerning. So I definitely hope that some action items come out of this, other than Joppa basically saying, well, we're not gonna give more and more information out because timelines and other stuff. Like this could be a completely unrelated by Joppa saying, hey, I'm not going to discuss what happened, and I'm not going to give like timelines to other things that are coming out. This is the worst time for that to happen, because now you're saying, hey, somebody from the community has addressed a concern, been crucified for it, and now everybody at VR is now going, whoa, we're going to reduce the amount of information that we're giving out. What? That could come across as retaliation. So like Chris Rowan posted about like, we're going to put some limits on stuff and limiting commands that can do certain things and this and that. And, we're going to be a little slower to respond to issues. So you could read this in this fashion, right? Player has question on GM buddying and doing things potentially leading to advantages from a guild, to VR crucifying that person who brought it up, to now VR saying we're going to reduce the amount of information and the response time in which we get to your issues. An HR department would have a fucking field day with that. Because that sure does. Within a day, all of that happens. And then by the following Monday, because it was a Friday when all this came up, to Monday, Joppa streams, and he's the primary source of information for the game. And now he's saying, I'm not going to address any of that. And also, I'm going to reduce the amount of information that I give out on stream. Oof. That's rough. That's a real rough stance to take. Brad was notorious to doing that shit in EverQuest with Fires of Heaven. Yep. This is true. Doesn't make it right. And we don't want repeats of some of the failings that EverQuest had. There's a name you haven't heard in a long time. Yep. Ooh, it's getting toasty in here. Give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna turn my fan on. 1 second. Sorry about that. My off's getting a little toasty. But anywho, so takeaways from kind of our discussions, and we'll basically 30,000 foot recap. So concerns with the GMs, favoritism, and then, I mean, I don't want to say it like this. Again, I'm going to preface it this way. There are tons of great people at VR. This is not indicative of everybody at VR. It is indicative of, one, poor communication, two, a little quick to the guns, a little defensive kind of posturing from VR, which, you know, you can blame it on stress, whatever. You know, I completely understand. But either way, this is a continued pattern now. We had it with the Black Moon server issues. We had it with the buddy key fiasco. We've now had it with somebody raising concerns about GMs doing questionable things with groups, whatever that thing may be. We're, you know, once, twice, three times, and it's been more than three, but those are three major ones. It's not a good look, right? That brings into question credibility. So, and rightfully so. You know, VR has chimed back in when all of these things have been brought up, and you have a non-transparent defensive posturing of VR. That only makes it look worse on the credibility side. So these plans are able to roughshod over anyone that has never have consequences. Yep. What's worse is Flexler left Subterfuge because he wasn't okay with the GM favoritism. Then the CEO paints him in a disgruntled ex-guildie that was removed. Yep. Again, like, man, I feel really bad. I literally messaged Flexler and apologized. I'm like, you know, I'm here for you. If I can do anything, I don't believe that he was treated fairly. You know, I at least to my knowledge, no one ever apologized and said, hey, maybe you came across a little rash, or I don't know, but I really feel bad for him because he's a good dude. He's part of our community for a period of time before going over to Subterfuge, and, you know, had some dealings with him a little bit in early access, or pre-early access, but not a great look. Really isn't. So, you know, we've talked about game balance, combat feeling clunky. I'm a believer in that the base combat system, not the technique system, the base combat, right? Damage, mitigation, stats, all of that need a fucking revamp. Plain and simple. Anyway, best ways to prepare gas bat, Traeger, light smoke. I would be careful putting him next to an open flame, to be completely honest with you. You ever try to light one of those propane grills without the lighter, and you have to open it and throw like a little piece of paper and a paper towel or something in there to light it, and then that catches the air and blows the lid open? It's kind of what I see going on with that gas bat if you try to grill it. So, but before I forget, let me We had a level 2. Hey. Oh, my bad. All right, everybody in chat just got 100 Arthaxium. So everybody just got 2 entries into the month-end giveaway. Thank you guys for the level 2 XP bar. Ooh, Bostova, look at them. Look at them points. 2,752 points. Damn. Torque, you just got shit on. Look at number 1. So, but before I forgot, I want to give everybody that hype train reward there in your points. Everybody's got enough points. You can do ! giveaway. Gives you the link to go do that. Torque's number 2. Bostova shot past you with those gifted subs, man. You know, it's pay to have a better chance. You're absolutely correct. Anyway, back to the notes. Sorry. I just want to do that before I forgot. So I believe that the base combat system, like I like the idea of having chevron and non-chevron mobs, like group mobs and regular mobs. Yeah, you can click that link there, the Stream Elements link. There, it'll tell you how many points you have, and then you can buy your tickets there. You can do it at the end of the month. You can do it now. You can buy those tickets while I'm off stream as well. Just watching gives you points. Subbing gives you points. Subbing also doubles the amount of XP or the amount of points that you get, the Arthaxium that you get just for watching. But follows get you Arthaxium, so on and so forth. So just so everybody knows. But yeah, you can go there, buy them. You don't have to be present in stream when we do the giveaway. I'll contact you through Twitch, give you a few days to kind of reply. If you don't after like a couple of days, I'm gonna re-roll it. But we're giving away a copy of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen on Steam. But that'll be the end of the month. But I really think the combat system from a damage mitigation and stats point of view needs to be balanced. I don't want the chevron versus non-chevron mobs to go away, like whatever you want to call them, elite, champion, etc. Whatever that looks like. I do like the design of having those because then you can make those mobs more challenging. But I do believe that the con system should also reflect that as well, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, if you fight a Grey Con mob, it's still challenging. It's more challenging to fight a Grey Con mob than a Grey Con chevron than a Grey Con normal mob, but yet you get no XP for either of them. Right? Like in some cases, a blue non-chevron mob is easier to kill than a gray chevron mob, yet the chevron mob gives no XP. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense to me. So there needs to be some scaling or something done there. But I do like the chevron versus non-chevron system. I don't want that to go away. But my point is the base damage mitigation stats, how all of that stuff is affecting the game needs to change. It needs to be balanced. And to be perfectly honest, I love the way Druid looks. I love that Druid is coming out soon. I would rather have a holistically better combat system than more content, than more classes, than more races, than fucking Unity 6. I would have liked to have that done before early access, period. Because I think that is the most detrimental part outside of XP to any new player joining this game, period. Hands down. So, but again, without communication, we don't know what they're doing. We have no clue what's being looked at, what's being balanced, etc. It's all just like, well, you're going to wait to see what the patch notes are. So you need to communicate that. And I've said that the entire stream so far for now 2 hours. Yeah, Torque, exactly. Right? It's nerf first, then figure it out later. That's not the way to approach it, right? Like, you don't want to ban hammer something just because it's a little overpowered, or it's a frustrating way to do things, because a lot of times, you know, that thing that is deemed overpowered may not be overpowered. Maybe that is the thing that is truly the way that you want the game, but everything else needs to be brought up to it. You know, kind of like Joppa's decision on Shaman, right? He's like, Shaman are up here, and I don't want to nerf Shaman. I want to bring everybody up to Shaman, right? Well, you're not doing that. You know what I mean? You keep saying, hey, we found something that maybe is a little bit better, and we're going to nerf the shit out of it. It's not a good way to handle it. Ark, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, welcome in. So it's just, I don't know. It's really frustrating. So other than the combat system, again, I love the technique system. I think it's fantastic. It was one of the best things combat wise that was done for this game. But the base combat, mitigation, damage, etc., doesn't feel good to me. Oh, I get it. It's not easy to do, but you can't just proactively like or retroactively ban everything that has been deemed good, right? Because a lot of times, yeah, stats still feel worthless. Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, my problem and I guess point is, you are building all of this itemization around a system that needs revamped. Right? Think about that. They're going through and creating all these items with all these stats, and the system that it's based on isn't done. You're creating items. Exactly. You're creating items as a workaround to the root problem. We need to address the base combat, damage mitigation, etc., before we start going balls to the wall and creating all these items. And I understand EA's coming. There's no items that are sought after. There was no reason to go down in dungeons and go after X, Y, and Z mobs, because the risk versus the reward, and we've got to give somebody shiny things to go after. And I get it. I really do. But what you're doing now is you're saying, we're just going to keep adding more itemization and more itemization and more itemization. That's fine. We need all that itemization. You want a large variation of weapons, you know, but also, if I'm just copy pasting with different names and tweaking one thing here, one thing there, you're creating a bulk of items that you're going to have to turn around and rebalance when you fix the root problem, which is the combat damage and mitigation. You're going to have to go back and redo all of that. You're creating more work. So anyway, but on top of that, crafting, not rewarding, in most cases is not worth it. The bulk of what we're seeing now is basically people only do provisioning and alchemy. So it's really, really rough. It's really, really rough. All right, we got an ad break coming up. Ad breaks are 3 minutes, so we only have to do one ad break per hour. It's a 3-minute ad break, so go use the restroom, go grab a drink, go grab a bite to eat, stretch your legs, get that blood moving. Before you do that, I'm going to do a raffle. We are level 2, so we're going to do a 100 Arthaxium raffle. So do !join to get on that. You have 2 minutes or 4 minutes to do your join. So do that, go get your drink, go stretch, do all that good stuff. We will resume very shortly here in a couple minutes. For those subs, people that don't have to deal with commercials, for subscribers, please feel free to join, to ask questions or whatever. I'll answer your questions. I'll go back over that kind of stuff as these ads finish. But if y'all have already not started, I will see you guys in 3 minutes. But yeah, make sure you get in on those Earth Axiom guys. You want to get your tickets for the giveaway. And you don't have to personally accept it. If you want to give it away to somebody else, like maybe you already have a Steam copy, you're more than welcome to give it to another player, a friend, cousin, child, brother, sibling, whatever. Look at Bostova with that shiny train in front of his name. It's awesome. Nice. Yep, all good. Oh no. Let's see. So I'm having all my sub badges redone. I'm in the middle of rebranding this channel as well, and my artist is running into some issues. He had an application issue. Womp womp. All right, ad break has started. The goat. How did I find an artist? Actually, one of the community members recommended him to me. Fantastic guy. As soon as I have his artwork out, I'm gonna share his information so other people can use him. Dude is super great, super great. Big fan. So I'll use him again for other things. But he's done a great job so far. He's redoing my logo. He's doing all my social media stuff. He's in the process of getting all of my sub badges redone. Lots of cool stuff coming. Again, sir, thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, Fiverr can be a good place. I've had some people do some stuff on Fiverr. I've also had some not great stuff on Fiverr. So the reason I'm actually working with this artist was I paid a good chunk of money to an artist on Fiverr, and it did not go well. It really did not. Now I don't want to shit on this guy. He had a perfect score in like 100 or 1,000 something reviews. I don't know if he was just having a rough time or whatever, but basically he just copy pasted the shit that I gave him and was like, "How's this?" And I'm like, "I no." So it just did not go well. And then Beckett, who gave away a couple of copies of Pantheon on the channel, recommended this guy, and I talked to him, and I've been working with him for a little over a month. He's doing a fantastic job, so I highly recommend him. And as soon as I release that, when I do release all of the new graphics and stuff, I will be releasing his information as well, so that people can use them. I was just telling him I was telling chat about him. All right, let's get back to chat here. I think we're back. Yep, we are back from a short rest. I believe you still owe me a drink, sir, from when your jaw was not doing well. I did drink it, but I'll drink another one for you tonight. I did have that. There's like, I think it was a Wednesday stream. I want to say it was a Wednesday stream, the first Wednesday after all that, which, by the way, that shit tried to get me again last week. I had to go back and get medicine over the weekend because it, what do you call it? The one I went back and saw the doctor. He's like, oh, it's a flare up. So I just got through another round of antibiotics. So, but it went back down. Everything looks good. Feels good. Still a little bit of a lump, but it's going to take time to go away. But I will pour another one for you, Dan Bull. You're a hell of a supporter of the stream, and I greatly appreciate you, sir. Yeah, right? It started coming back. I was like, no fucking way. I'm already fighting with the insurance company because they're like, oh, well, you only get one treatment per lifetime on that tooth. I'm like, it was a failed, it was a failed root canal. It's not my fault. It wasn't like I just, didn't take care of it. So, and they're like, why didn't you go back to the same doctor? I was like, the one who fucked it up. Why would I go back? Like, it was his fault. This got fucked up. Like, why would I do that? So, all right, another pour. That's a pretty good pour too. Look at all that. Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate you. We are almost out, chat. I'm going to have to go to the liquor store tonight. Or not tonight, but this weekend. Or tomorrow. Actually, probably tomorrow. I'm going to pick up groceries tomorrow, so I might have to go. I think the next bottle, what did I say, was going to be Uncle Nearest? I think so. Looking good. Appreciate you as well. Well, we appreciate each other. I'm glad. Yeah, you've been a hell of a supporter of the channel, so I do it for you guys, and I appreciate all of the accolades and chatting and lurking and all of that in return. Couldn't do it without y'all. Even if I make Torque sub when I'm playing World of Warcraft. Still feel disgusted. All right. Let's see. Where do we end up? So one of the other things I kind of wanted to bring up too was, or recap, was lack of a roadmap, right? So pre-early access on their website, I think it's still out there. Let me check real fast. Yeah, so their production tracker is out there. So if you go to their website, you go to news, there's a little drop down, you go down to production tracker. It says early access, December 13th. Final prep is in internal testing, right? And then their stretch goal, their stretch goal was an encounter system, right? That's still what's out there. There's nothing else on the progress, right? Their Trello is basically blank from early access. December 13th was the last update. Or pre-December 13th. I want to say like December 1st was probably their last update. They have not touched that in now, what, 1 day short of 2 months. And one of the answers that we got as soon as all of this was going on was, well, we're working on our roadmap right now, and we'll get something out so everybody knows what's going on. 2 months later, right, 20,000 copies sold, whatever that number looks like, we've got no roadmap. Right? We've got no information from Visionary on what the hell's going on. The only time we hear about it is Joppa's stream. Right? And then on that stream, on this Monday, he said, I'm going to be less forthcoming with dates, what's being worked on, and he's not commenting on the whole GM thing. Right? So again, we have no transparency. We have no clue what's coming. We didn't know Unity 6 was going to be on the priority list. And all of a sudden it was like, yeah, Joppa said on his stream, he's working on Unity 6 and that's going to be in the next patch. And then that got pushed like 2 weeks, right? So it is absolutely crazy to be at this stage in a crowd-funded game and just really have no roadmap and not communicate anything to the people who support you and are supporting the development of this game. So the communication has gotten worse since early access, and that is alarming to me. And again, I know they're busy. They're trying to come up with a roadmap. They're trying to potentially hire people. If they're hiring people, I don't know. Again, no communication on it. But the bottom line is VR needs to get their act together, and they need to do it rather quickly. The goal is for them to continue to sell copies, continue to have people test, and we're seeing a pattern of pushing people away, not communicating. Probably numbers are going down. I haven't looked at the Steam charts lately to see the trending of those numbers, but I'm willing to bet it's probably going down quite a bit. And that's just with the Steam crowd, not necessarily the early access crowd. And you don't want to lose your players. And I get, they're going to look at case studies like, oh, good Lord. The space game that came out that was really, really bad at launch, and then it's recovered and it's done really well. I can't think of the name of it. My daughter loved it. There are games, No Man's Sky, exactly. Yep. So there are games that have come out, struggled really good, and turned that struggle into a measurable success to say, hey, look what we've done, look where we've come, and get a second chance. But those second chances, they don't come around a lot. So you really need to prioritize, at least at a bare minimum, communication as to where things are going. If you're implementing partial systems, okay, you need to understand the impact of the player, and you need to communicate what that impact is going to be. So I'm going to go back to kind of what we talked about a little bit ago, where they nerfed a lot of the items, right? So items existed in the game. They're bringing those, they're taking the delay, cranking that up, and then they're taking the damage, turning that down. And they don't tell everybody that, hey, this is the way that all the weapons are going to be styled. They just said, hey, we're making some adjustments, right? Like, damage delay. And a lot of those weren't even communicated, like the rare weapons. All of a sudden, these weapons that we had worked to get for dual wield, like the charged battle fists and feathered wind blades and those kind of weapons, were then nerfed into unique. So now you can't have two of them. And then the damage was tuned down and the delay was turned up. And we have no idea what the intent was there. If you would have communicated that up front and say, hey, we're revamping kind of how we're expecting the damage to work and this and that, people are more likely to accept those changes, like myself, than to just be blindsided by them. So a little bit of communication goes a long way. And I don't think they've learned that yet. And that it's going to push a lot of players away. I think I'm a little more understanding than most, and it pissed me off. So I've not played the game yet, but I think they released too early as far as I've seen. I will say, in some aspects, yes, they pushed out too early. But number one, they had to. Number two, it's still in a better state now than a lot of games in this relative stage, if that makes sense. It is definitely still an alpha. Yes, it is early alpha. Yep. So, but like if you went and looked at, from all of the things that I've heard, I have not played Ashes of Creation, but I've heard this game is further along than Ashes of Creation. And Ashes of Creation has been funded way more than this game. So, and for folks that just hear me kind of complaining about the state of the game and some things about VR, the game is still worth it. Not everybody at VR is bad or, is doing a bad job. There's a lot of great talent at VR. There's a lot of people that care about what people think. But my advice to Visionary is be careful who you're listening to. Just because they had $1,000 to throw at you or $400 or whatever, and they've been around the longest, doesn't mean they're the majority, and doesn't mean that their input should outweigh the majority, if that makes sense. Now, the counter to that is a lot of us say we want X, Y, and Z, and that's not a good design for the game. So, you know, just because you donated more doesn't make you right, exactly. But also, just because the majority wants easier or whatever, doesn't mean that's what's best for the game either. So that's why, you know, I have tried to force a lot of people to go watch Joppa and say, hey, look, go see his streams and watch how he cares about the game, right? Because anybody, any random person can go say a comment, and again, he gets spammed a whole lot more now than he did in the past, but he will take what somebody wants, ask a question, and try to find a middle ground to where it is now, where somebody wants it to be, and then try to engineer somewhere in between that will still accomplish what they want, but yet still be fun. And so that is huge, huge for somebody who's interested in buying the game, somebody who currently owns the game, and somebody who wants the game to pan out, right? Like, seeing that from Joppa has been fantastic. And what I don't want is, based on his comments, him to start reining that back in to figure out like what to do, and then say, oh, well, I'm not gonna be as forthcoming with information. You're really the only source of communication, Joppa. You can't do that. And if you do that, then somebody else from a official Visionary standpoint needs to be putting this information out. Plain and simple. So, and I do agree, polls in Discord is too much. There is a ton of people that are not going to get in his stream that are valid everyday players, hardcore players, casual players, ultra casual players, middle of the road where they're a little hardcore, like a little more intense. So, but I'm a firm believer, and I hated this in chat the other day. I saw him, like, I think it was when he was doing Rogue. He was like, I'm going to go play the game. And so, like, he went to go organically play the game, and chat started like, oh, we don't want to see that. No, we do. That's the only way shit is going to get fixed. If he physically has to go get his gear, kill his own mobs, all of that shit, that is how things get fixed. And then you're going to you jump in and go, well, I wanted to see fucking, you know, him work on some random spawn or fucking decorate a path. No, that's not what we need. We need him to see the issues with the game as a player. And he can't do that. They need to do that more so that they can organically go see what the problem is. Because if he just types in a / command and grants him all the shit that he thinks the player should have at that level, and then goes and, you know, has all of the optimal stats and all this shit, that's not how the majority of the player base is playing the game. They don't have all level 15 gear. They have gear that was at level fucking 2 off of a skeleton, right? They still have patched cloth and all that shit. They don't have optimal gear for that level. Very rarely are you going to go into a level with optimal gear. It's about the chase, right? That's the part of the game that's fun. You want to chase items, you want to chase levels and spells and all those things. You don't come into the level with that. So it's not an accurate test to say, oh, I'm just going to type in a / command. Now I have all the gear for level 15. Now I'm level 15. I have all my optimal stats. I'm going to spawn a mob in front of me and attack that mob, and look, my damage is fine. Well, yeah, number one, you didn't have to fucking body pull. You didn't have to crowd control. You didn't have to go get any of that gear. It's not a valid test. Plain and simple. They need to be going and playing those roles and seeing how the game actually behaves. Not like a very mathematical approach of like, okay, let me test this in a fucking shoebox with no outside interference. That's not how the game works. So And then people start bitching about, well, I wanted to see you work on X, Y, and Z. No. He needs to say, no, this is what I need to do. This is my priority. And then VR needs to say, this is our priority. This is what's happening. So it's really frustrating. But it's going to get there. I have faith it's going to get there. They need people to tell them what I'm telling them now, what you guys are telling them in chat. Like, they need to listen to this perspective. And this, again, this whole stream is the reason why I didn't make this a video. Because I feel like if I just do this as a video and put it out, it's Arthax saying this is what needs to happen. This is Arthax's opinion, so on and so forth. If I put this out as a stream, you guys are either confirming or you're telling me I'm wrong, which hasn't happened a lot, but you're sharing the same opinions, and then they can see that, whether I, hand this to them or not. So, and they may never see this, but other people are, they see the perspective, maybe they'll chime in. I highly encourage people to go on the forums, go into Joppa's streams, and tell him. You need to listen to the majority, not the loud people. Not the people that threw $1,000, because those are not your average testers. Like, not that their opinion shouldn't matter, but that's a totally different type of player, and that's not your average player. If your average person donated $1,000 for early access, they wouldn't have had the budget issue, right? If 20 to 40,000 people donated $1,000, that's a whole different level of funding. So good luck with that. The vocal minority will just bury you in the malarkey. That's why I'm doing this. I don't want to get yelled at, right? Who knows? They might see this and put me on blast. I don't know. But I've been a vocal supporter and champion of this game for months now. I've been a follower and supporter of this game for a decade. I would hate to see that happen, but at the same time, I don't believe I'm doing VR a service in just glazing over all of the bullshit that's going on. I don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for the player base. I don't think it's good for the future of the game. So, and I will reference this stream multiple times over. So I still have faith in the game. I believe in it. I believe it in a lot of ways is a fun game, but they're making a lot of changes and taking a lot of the fun out of the game by nerfing things, by turning up the difficulty, by making things more punishing. And they're going to put off a lot of people. And I think that is disappointing because of what this game can be. I think they're leaning too hard into the difficulty niche and not enough into the challenging but fun. No, I don't think anybody's playing this game wants WoW. I don't think anybody wants to be able to be level 50 in 3 days. I don't think anybody wants 10-second fights. I don't think anybody wants a fucking GPS map where you know exactly where all your quests are and all of that shit. I don't think anybody wants no death penalties, no corpse runs. But there's a large gap between that and where we're at now. I think if you're all testing the game, you have to let the people explore it, give good gear, give good loot, let people test the game. Exactly. Yep. And the people that are testing the game need to be able to, one, bring up questionable situations without being assaulted by the staff. And people need to be able to bring up unpopular takes without getting flamed and told to be like, well, go play another fucking game. Go back to WoW. Why would you do that? Just because they have an opposing view. I don't know. I guess I'm just different than they are, and that's fine too. So, but that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of what's going on. So chat, now we get back to the you guys. The sad part is people acting like that are 50 plus, right? Yep. Fucking boomers. No, I'm just kidding. What do you guys have, chat? What are things that you would like to see addressed? You use me as your vessel of communication. So that way when this does eventually get called out, reviewed by VR, I mean some people, some of those guys may have been in here already, I don't know. But what issues do you guys have? What did you disagree with, or what do you have that I haven't addressed? I want something as far away from World of Warcraft as possible. Yeah, yep. I agree. I don't want this game competing with that. I want this game in the same realm as EverQuest, where it's challenging and a lot of fun. And I think we've got challenging, maybe a little too. So more engaging combat instead of 5 actions per minute geriatric gamer mode. Are you playing solo Arc, or are you playing a lot of group stuff? I feel like group is definitely more engaging than solo. That's true. You can have a challenging game without the tedium of every aspect of the game, like the hunger and thirst bar. Fix what's already in game. Monk is still broken. Warrior and Rogue need balancing. Enchanters need their charm. Necro needs a pass. So there's so much broken right now. Absolutely. Yep. And again, I would start with the I'd start with the base combat, damage mitigation, etc. Hunger, thirst, remove it. Just, yeah, eat and drink for buffs. I'm right there with you, man. I do not like the hunger and thirst bar. I get why they put it in, but it's just not a fun mechanic. It really isn't. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody go, I really love having to eat this fucking food. Plenty of people eat food and drink the water or drink the drinks for the stat buffs, but I haven't heard one single person go, I really enjoy the fact that I have to keep clicking fucking like hardtack to keep my hunger bar up. It's just not a fun system. Just remove it. Yep, it just takes up more inventory space. Exactly. If I wanted to play a survival game, I'd play 7 Days to Die. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be in the game, and I don't think it fits, really, to be completely honest. But, hey, they took and they changed the hunger and thirst bar from the little box, and they streamlined it and put it real close to the player window. So they made a change to it. I know. I believe Joppa doesn't like the system either. So I think they should just take it out. Yeah, it made it harder to see. Definite improvement. Yep, right there with you. Yeah, again, not to lean too much into the WoW side, but I think WoW did it fine, right? You right click it if you're trying to quickly regenerate I would think that you would make it do kind of like WoW, where you click it and it gives you like a short-term regeneration, something of that nature, to just give like health or mana back. I think that would be fine too. But I don't think the hunger thirst bar. Do you guys think we should also remove environmental effects? Is that another annoyance alongside the hunger and thirst mechanic? I like the environmental side. I like the kind of poison resistance. What is that called? Acclimation. I like the acclimation system. I do not like the hunger and thirst bar. I don't think it needs to be in game. I like the fact that you're going to have to acclimate to a climate both naturally and through like the runes and stuff. If anything, I think that Halnir Cave should have like that acclimation system for Halnir Cave should be brought in just a touch earlier. Like maybe as a newbie quest to get some just bare essential like toxic acclimation stuff as an introduction before Hangor. I think that would be a cool introduction and a cool quest to kind of go through, and then amplify the toxic environment that is Halnir. Yeah, I would like to see, because that the natural acclimation increases slowly, I would like to see it decrease slowly as well over a longer period of time, if that makes sense. Like as soon as you log off, like say you go link dead, right? You come back, I've got to build my natural acclimation all the way up. I don't like that. I don't like it a bit. I think it should take a lot longer to fade. But again, that may not be the end all be all design, right? That may be a symptom of like, you know, buffs disappearing when you zone, that kind of stuff. Rayvon, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, we're almost level 2, guys. Or level 3. Got to go. Good night. I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you so much for hanging out. I think it should take a lot longer to build and never fade. I mean, I would be okay with that too. I mean, even if it were something like there were levels to, like, let's just use Hangor as an example, right? Say that Hangor has a level, right? Like a level range. So say that maybe your natural acclimation could go to like, let's say 20 or 25. Maybe Hangor only gets you to 5 or 10. And it's not cold enough to get you all the way to 25, but that 5 or 10 stays. So now you go to the next, like let's say you go up further in Hangor and it's, you know, much colder. Maybe that cap goes up further the colder it gets, and you work that acclimation in stages, similar to how maybe Joppa wanted to do like depth of a dungeon equals percentage of XP bonus. You know what I mean? You could kind of do the same thing. And then, you know, I agree. It could be cool to have that never fade or fade over long periods of time. Like if I haven't gone back into Hangor or a cold climate zone for like a week, you lose a point, or, you know, you lose half of it after a week and all of it after 2 weeks or something like that, or even just stay. I'm cool with that either way. But again, we don't know what those systems are supposed to look like, right? This is the entrance to that system, so we could only be seeing part of the picture. That goes back to my comment earlier, right? Communication. We need to know, if we're going to provide feedback on something, like what the system is intended to look like. Because imagine you're the developer, okay? I'm the developer. I know what the end all be all of this system is going to look like. And I've got 20% of that system built, okay? And I know that 70% of my feedback is really not valid because they don't know what the other 80% of that system looks like, right? Now I'm wasting my fucking time on something that's going to already become part of that system because I didn't communicate what that system is intended to be, you know? And you're not going to be able to give them 100% of that system, right? Because you don't want to spoil it or that kind of thing, but you can at least give a high level, right? Maybe not all the nitty gritty, but some communication, again, goes a long way. And I feel like we're getting slim to none. Class number 2 down. Thank you so much, Dan Bull. Thank you again, Bostova. I think Bostova is our leader, right? Torque is leader in cheers. Oh, yeah, Bostova is in sole position of the top 3. So he's top 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I forgot. Week started over. That's why. With 5 gifted. Also, don't forget, guys. A lot of people forget about this. I feel like most of them go to waste. Grassimo, thank you, sir. Oh, look, we got pushed to level 3. Level 3, thank you, sir, for the 2 months. 2-month streak. Tier 1 sub, thank you so much, sir. I earn every penny. Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. But oh yeah, what I was going to say. So if you guys have Amazon Prime, you can link your account. You'll have Twitch Prime on your Twitch account. That is a free sub that you can sub to your favorite streamer, whether that's somebody like Joppa or myself or whoever you watch. You know, Luxthos on WoW, Tim the Tatman if you like shooters or whatever, any of those guys. That Twitch Prime is a free way to support whatever streamer that you enjoy. So don't forget to use that every month. I have forgotten about mine in the past. So don't forget, use it on your favorite streamer. It does support them greatly. And it doesn't auto redeem, so you have to do it every month. So you can give it to Joppa 1 month, you can give it to somebody the next, different person. So don't forget about it. Also, if you're over there on the YouTubes, definitely you can join as a member there as opposed to a sub, or you can do super chats, all that kind of stuff for your favorite YouTube streamers or content creators. I can't say I will find you and I will pay on any of the live streams right now. Checking to see if I'm censored in all live chats at this point. I will find you and you will pay. Maybe it's a mod thing. Yeah, Earthworm, you're good. Oh, what was that? Sorry. I don't know if YouTube Prime helps or not. I need to check on that. Okay. You'll have to look into that. I don't know. What's up, Earthworm? By the way, chat, a lot of you haven't seen in a minute. Missed you guys. I greatly appreciate the support. Thank you for lurking out. Thank you for hanging. Thank you for listening to my ranting and raving. By all means, this is your podium too, not just mine. That's why chat is on the screen. So if you guys have anything that you want to convey to VR, they do pop into this stream. They do pop into other streams. By all means, please do chime in, give your feedback. They'll be able to see it here. I'll likely discuss a lot of it. I like threatening people from chat's guilty pleasure. By all means, man. Yeah, this is your feedback too, not just mine. That's the whole reason I streamed this and didn't just put out a random YouTube video that was talking about this. Oh my gosh, I left LFG on and I missed like a bunch of tells for groups. Womp womp. I will say the lighting seems better today after this patch. I do still think that I do still think that I could look, I don't know how to describe it, a little dingy in the distance. It seems less clear. Oh, 100%. Want to buy Greater Lightstone. So funny story, Ravon. I have a GLS on every character in EverQuest ever. If they have lasted more than like 5 levels, I have a GLS on them. That's in all EQ emus. That's in P99. That's on live servers. That's on TLPs. Period. It is a thing I have to do on all. Even if I'm a dark elf, it is on all of my characters. There's a few items that I have to get when I do TLPs or play those games. GLS is always on the list. Glowing black stone is on the list. J boots. If I can, pre-nerf fungi staff, fungi tunic. my teak vendor has a full set of rubicite on a paladin, so she has a soul fire and a full set of rubicite armor. Yep, pre-nerf Circlet of Shadows. Oh my gosh, especially Necro or Shadow Knight. Holy shit, I love. It's such a good item. Such a good item. By the way, guys, fantastic job getting us to level 3 tonight. Yep, guys, the Deceiver. Everybody who's still in chat is going to get 150 points for hitting level 3 tonight. We didn't get a hype train, but I appreciate all you guys. So make sure you spend those babies, get in your entries to win a copy of Pantheon at the end of the month. Those who sub, whether it's Twitch Prime or just like a regular tier 1 sub, 2 sub, 3 sub, whatever, those give you 500 Arthaxium, which is 10 entries into the giveaway. So if you have your Twitch Prime, you don't mind using it on me, go ahead. But like I said, don't forget to use it on whoever you like, your favorite streamer. We're going to go over real quick. I didn't cover yet the patch notes. So we're going to bust into these patch notes here. All right, so quick rundown of today's patch notes. Player corpses will now only be present on a server shard where the player died. So for example, if you die at level 5 and above on Black Moon 1, you need to be on Black Moon 1 to loot your corpse, get a res, etc. That was confusing for a lot of folks. I'm glad at least they've communicated that now. I don't know how many times I've had to tell a guild member or another player that, hey, can you summon my corpse? I'm like, it's not in the game. So oh shit. Sorry, I just got where Jadion got his Twitch partner on his reapply. Hell yeah. Congrats to Jadion. Some adjustments were made to lighting. I was just talking about that, so fantastic. Give me a sec. Torque, let me catch up. It's a shame unofficial servers are so full of bots, they make items less than special because they flood the market with them. Yep. That was my suggestion a month ago. Corpse dupe issue. Oh, shit. Hold on a sec. I'm getting attacked by a fucking spindle leg stalker. Mana bomb. Let me cast 4 times to drop my spike swarm. Hey, look. It hit. Ah, shit. How did I die? Did Tarsal Fury get me? What hit me? Ugh. Fucking hate those spiders. Alright, well, I'm dead. Let's throw an F in chat for me here. Let's see. F. There you go. Pump, pump. There we go. I lost all the progress I made today, which is 1 kill. So I went back almost above. Got 14. Pump, pump. On a light blue con, or blue con. Yep. Rip. And I was full on mana dumping and I couldn't kill it. And that's with my tank pet out too. My tank pet was tanking it and I was facing the other way. So just, I guess straight poison got me. I don't know. Case in point. All right, back to the patch notes. Sorry about that, guys. I'm up by the bindstone now, so I can't get killed here. I don't think. That spider is going to come over here and murder me now. Adjustments made. Adjustments to Gloom Totem and Overcast color. Animation tweak for human and female two-handed walking. Re-edit dynamic resolution options and graphic settings. Allowed FSR2 option for graphic settings. Note that it is experimental and not all graphics cards support it. Added anti-aliasing option for graphic settings. Added detail meshes enabled option to graphic settings. Fix some performance issues. I have noticed it does seem a little smoother, at least at idle, but I'm also running 5120 by 1440, so I'm running super ultra wide. Fix for some crash issues. That was Smiter the other day when we played. Crash, crash, crash. There's a few other folks that were having the same problem. Fix sky disable option sometimes not being applied. Fix the spot near Throne Fast Wizard Tower Lake where it was causing people to swim on dry land. That's good. I reported that one too. Fixed a spot in Eastern Plains where water was sticking out of the ground where it didn't belong. I saw that one too. I also saw there's one in Wild's End too. There was two in Wild's End actually that I know about. Right-clicking anywhere on the ability in the list in the codex will put that ability on its hotbar. Fix some VFX that were not going away when they should have been. Fixed an issue that would cause the screen to be rendered as solid black in some places in the world, such as a few places in Eastern Plains while facing certain directions. Interesting. I saw that. I thought that was just me, my client being stupid. World changes. Mining node spawns have been enabled for the southwest or southern Morvaki marshes in Wild's End. Woodcutting nodes have been enabled for southern Morvaki marshes as well. Fiber harvesting node spawns have been enabled in the southern Morvaki marshes. Food and alchemy harvesting nodes now spawn there as well. First pass of wild blood camps added to Silent Plains. Nice. Has anyone been there yet? Does anybody know if the wild blood, do they have the new models or they're still humans? I don't know if anybody's been there yet in chat. Mysterious doppelganger of banker Torkson in King's Watch has vanished and been replaced by a different individual who claims to have always been there. Torkson. Yep. Banker Torkson. Torcson. Torkson. Necromancer class trainer and trait vendor added to Demeth. Finally. What did they do to my boy? I love it. Alternate version of crafting components have been removed from supply crates as they are no longer used. There we go. A torn map fragment should now appear more often in supply crates in Thronefast. Please note that this item and its corresponding quest will be completely reworked in a future update. A missing percent sign on an item description for Goblin Punch has been corrected. The description for Adjutant's plate armor is now correctly identifies the armor type. Change the spell critical chance stat on Sightweaver's robe to grant 36 spell crit rating. Heart of the White Wyvern clicky effect now displays its buff and buff description when its effect is active. Slew of crafting changes. Weaponsmith, Armorsmith, Simple Weapon cladding has been renamed. Standard weapon cladding. Required components and materials should now properly be identified in the crafting window. Simple pommel weight has been renamed. Refining schematic for Ashen Bronze bars now specifies the correct skill requirement. A Thunderous Cestus is now properly accept its components, so you can actually make it now. Fletching and carpentry. When crafting a lidded storage box, the required components material should now properly be identified in the crafting window. Ashen Bronze arrows should now be craftable at 30 skill as advertised on their schematic. Simple small shield blanks and standard small shield blanks should now have the correct name when created. Buckler and small shield schematics now have do a better job of identifying components they require in the crafting window. They have a typo there. Tailoring and leatherworking. The Philosopher's leggings, not the Philosopher's stone, the Philosopher's leggings should now properly accept their components. VFX, fixed positioning of bite VFX on some abilities. Remove the extra VFX that was playing on Ravage. Interesting. So those are today's patch notes. So all in all, great stuff. All right. So, chat, does anybody have anything they want to call out or share about the game, feedback or otherwise? Auto stacking? No shit. Oh my gosh. I did tell Steve I would volunteer to help with the auto stacking thing. Yep. Oh, that bug is the most needed bug fix in the game. Like, they fixed the fucking announcement of like players talking through mobs, which was like my favorite bug ever. Like, I loved it because mobs would talk shit. But they didn't work on the stacking bug. Like, come on. Let a mob talk shit, but let me get my stacking working. I wish they would finish class spells. Mostly don't have any past 20s. Yeah, that was supposed to be done prior to EA. So, yeah. So, but Smiter brought up a good point. So, I want to clarify some of my comments, right? This has been kind of a... Yep, exactly what Smiter's saying. So, I want to clarify and make sure that this comes across. I'm being critical of the game, yes. But because I enjoy it, I'm still having fun in the game. I have belief that the game will eventually get where it needs to be, and that it will be a game that we can play for a long period of time and really enjoy. I have faith that that is going to happen, but I feel as if I didn't express my frustrations and my criticisms about the game, then I'm doing the game a disservice and not being clear about my expectations and what I do and don't like. Everybody is, I'm sure, well aware of what I do enjoy about the game and how I feel about the game from a positive standpoint, but I felt it was important, one, given everything that's gone on in the last week, that we should come out and express our frustrations and what we would like to see in the game to make it viable for a long, long time. So this may be the longest the gassy bat has been on the screen, by the way, which I love. I love this background. Can you give cliff notes of GM favoritism going on for someone not active in the community? So the GM favoritism, just kind of a 30,000 foot view. So a member of the community who was in a guild on my server saw what he believed was questionable activity going on between a group of people in a guild. And a scenario that existed where what appeared to be a named mob popped in a higher level zone directly on a group, not where I guess the mob should have spawned. And the GM, either jokingly or not jokingly, typed in a / command that appears to be appears to be what they used to spawn a mob. So it looked very suspicious. And then he brought that to VR's attention by posting in the forum saying, you know, he didn't like the fact that a GM on a live server is hanging around a guild, number one, in their Discord, number two, and three, what appears to be, and his perspective was they were spawning named mobs for this guild. Okay. That's what he saw from his perspective. So he brought that up to VR and said, hey, look, this is what I've seen going on. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I'm leaving the guild. I don't like the fact that they're even humoring the idea of doing this. And the response from VR was the community manager basically coming at him and saying, if what you're saying is not true, I'm going to ban you. That's the immediate response from the community manager. And then that obviously blew up for obvious reasons, right? VR said we investigated internally, nothing came of it. Like there was no spawning of mobs, et cetera, et cetera. It was happened due to a zone reset. And then the CEO chirped out and said that basically this accusation came from a disgruntled former guild member, basically painting him in a negative light. And after being attacked, I mean, I would probably respond in a negative manner as well. But a whole bunch of drama happened all around that. And some questions came out of it of, okay, if the zone reset and that's why the mob popped, who reset the zone? Why was the zone resetting? And while he may not have spawned the mob, maybe a reset command is what spawned the mob. So maybe he did, just not, you know. So, and exactly, we've investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. Again, you can't, like, your credibility took a hit based on the way you reacted, and then you want everybody to take your word at face value. Like, just the sheer way that you reacted looks guilty. Right? Like, if this isn't true, we're banning you. Like, what? Like, who pissed in your Wheaties? Like, that is a legitimate... That's a legitimate issue if that was occurring. Whether it was or wasn't is irrelevant. The way you reacted to it looked really bad. So, but it just kind of kept going and going, and that poor guy basically was crucified by a ton of people. And... like, he has since given all of his gear away and quit the game. Like, he led a legitimate concern he brought up and then was crucified for it, and it's caused him to leave. So Ark said, Arthax, what do you feel VR should be number one priority? Number one priority right now should be mob scaling and the combat damage mitigation and stats. Number one. Period. I don't want any, like, I really want Gnome. I really want Druid. I really want Bard. I really want more endgame content. Most people still are not in endgame content. It is not relevant right now, in my opinion. In the priority lists. So as far as game is concerned, the base combat damage mitigation, how quickly you kill a mob, all of that needs to be revisited and run and basically perfected before they start adding more and more gear that they're going to have to go back and rework. With a small team, it is imperative that they don't create more work for themselves because they already have funding issues, right? And I believe what they're doing right now is creating more issues down the road that's going to take more capital to try to balance out, okay? So while it sucks that we wouldn't have new content, I believe that's number one for me in the game. Number one outside the game, you need to communicate with your player base. Period. You need to communicate with your player base. We need a fucking roadmap. You said at December 13th, we're coming up with a roadmap. It's coming. In January, we're coming up with a roadmap. It's coming. January 15th, we're coming up with a roadmap. It's coming. We're at February 12th. We have no clue what's being worked on. The only way we knew what's coming was Joppa's personal streams, period. And he's come to say, well, I'm not going to give you more timelines on what's going on there. I'm not going to be forthcoming with information. The CEO, as a part of his message, said, we're not going to get back to you as quickly because we're being too buddy to buddy with the community. You literally assaulted a community member. Verbally assaulted the guy. So communication and roadmap, number one. Those are tied for number one as far as outside of the game, period. This is, I understand it's an indie company, but it is a business. You are beholden to, I mean, we don't have any shares, but we're like shareholders, right? You need to justify what you're doing with the people who are funding it. Like we've paid to fund this game. We deserve at least some measurable window to see, okay, what is going on? What are you guys spending your time on? Like, what can we expect in the next month, the next 6 months, the next year? Like, we understand where it should be at 1.0, but there is so much between now and then. That's 2 years from now. And I get it, right? Like, there are details within that roadmap that we don't need, but we have no roadmap at all. Here's what we know. We need better animations. We need combat fixes. We need bug fixes. We need a UI. We need Bard. We need Druid. We need all of the remaining 3 races, Archai, Scar, and Gnome. Right? We need revamps on hair, and we need armor graphics. We need content. We need the rest of the world. Like, that is known. But we need a list that says, hey, here is the order in which we're processing this stuff. And if that changes, perfectly fine. If you go, well, we were going to do Farthale, now we're going to prioritize, like, I can't think of one of the other zones. Anyway, we're going to prioritize a different zone, right? Or we're going to revamp Hangor, or, whatever that is. That stuff is fine when you have to cycle the order, but just putting things in a group needs to be done. Damn it. Commercial break. All right, so we're going to run a raffle. We are level 3, so we're going to raffle off 150. Subscribers, I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you get your exclamation mark joins in so you can have a chance to win those. If you were a sole winner of this, there's 3 entries into the giveaway. Make sure you get them joins in. I need to see, can you buy directly in here? Oh shit, okay. You can do enter. Exclamation mark enter. Okay. So if you wanted to use your Arthaxium, do exclamation mark enter to buy tickets directly here. I forgot you could actually buy straight through chat. You can also click that link on the giveaway to go buy them as well, but $750 or $785. You're in 4th place, Grass. Enter your mom. You only get 1 ticket. If I had friends, I'd buy tickets. You can give it away to whoever, man. You can give it away to whoever. Give it away to a guildie. And give it away to another person on the stream. You can also save them. So I was toying with the idea of maybe doing like Steam gift cards and stuff, or giving away like some other indie games and stuff at some point. Smiter, I can be your friend. But yeah, so like you can save these up as well and then enter like next month's giveaway. I'm not going to reset. So like if you didn't want, like, let's say you already had a copy of Pantheon, you can save them. There you go. I think you can buy the total number. But basically what you can do is you can save them up. And so like next month, maybe we'll do Pantheon, or maybe like a Steam gift card or something like that. and then you can just save them up and spend it on that. If you don't, like, you already have a Steam copy, because you can't have two unless you have two Steam accounts. But yep, there you go. You got 11 tickets now. Hell yeah. And you still got a lot of points. You're still number one, and you got how many entries? Let's see. Torque has one. Drixtrin has two. Mook has one. Beckles got one. Torque's got one. Oh, Beckles got two. Sorry. Rigged. Yeah, Bosto is running away with it. He's got 11. But a lot of people are saving theirs too, and then they're going to buy them all at once, I believe. So. Yeah, Ravon, save them up, man. Might do like a Steam gift card next month. Do something different for March, maybe. All right, let's put the game up on the stream here. Slowly, Arthax will fund my 6-man summoner bot army. This is true. This is true. You heard it here first. I think Torque just called me a bot. Yeah, lighting looks better. All right, let's go try to not get murked by a spider on our way to the manor. Yeah, I will say the lighting is much better. My one complaint about the lighting so far, and they fixed part of it today, was the area around the player didn't feel bright enough. It felt way too dim. Secondly, the fuck am I running? Need to go down here. Okay. For some reason, it still looks like this to me. Does anybody else feel like the sunlight looks a little... I don't know if the right word is dingy. I dare you to check the area near Mad Run where chevron spiders are. Oh, I've died lots of times over there. Pulling that area is a pain in the ass. I hate it. So does Smiter. Smiter fucking hates that area. Am I going the right way? I think I am, right? Am I turned around? I am turned around. No, I'm going the right way. It's dark and I'm forgetting my bearings here. The night is dark and full of terrors. Yeah, on top of it, like, this... full of terries. God, drack them clowns. The other thing that doesn't do it justice too is this comes across as lighter on stream. Where the fuck am I at? All right, we're just stucking. I am confused as to where I'm at. This is Halnir Cave right over here, right? Okay, that's Halnir, so I just need to run across. Oh, the skeleton, the green on the skeletons is a lot more bright. Hodor. Why do I feel like I'm turned around again? Did I take a small break from this game and I forget how to navigate AVP all of a sudden? All right, well, we'll get there. That's right. Okay, so you go over to this wall. Okay. Yeah, I'm there. I got it. I'm a dum-dum. I know where I'm at now. My brain was flipping the position of all these little spheres where the orcs are. Shit. That was a spooter and he was going to kill me. Rabid duskbat, no thank you. Hey, you fuck off, Rabid duskbat. Stop chasing me. I don't need your bad juju. I attack the darkness. Ah, spindle leg. Shit, there was another one. Or as we call them, smiter biters. So I'm curious, chat, what did everybody have for dinner tonight? Make me jealous with your dinner selections. Beer, tuna fish sandwich, soul of the innocent. Nice. Straight up rejuvenating. You forgot. What kind of beer was it, Art? What's your favorite beer? You know, a good hot dog sounds good. If y'all ever heard of Portillo's, love me a Chicago dog, man. European beer. Nice. Is it a Pilsner, an IPA, lager, stout? What'd you have? Yeah, I really dig, like, except for the tomato. I take the tomato off of a Chicago dog. Whoa, what is that? Whatever that is, fucking legit. I like that. That looks cool as hell. Okay, Pantheon. Okay. I won't shit on your Unity 6 implementation. That was cool looking. Can we get a little more of that? Because that was nice. I could see everything. Oh, lager. Good deal. You know what I've been craving? I have been craving a Guinness. I've been craving a Guinness. I have not had a beer in a minute. And I love booze. I don't know if you can tell. And you know what? Actually, since y'all have been so, like, fantastic today, we're going to go pour another one. We're going to finish this bottle off tonight. All gone. In honor of Bostova, Dambull, Torque. Who else we got? Grass. Aqua Cadabra. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Cheers, chat. Thank you so much. It's been a great night. Some Polish beers that were 16%. That shit is now schnapps. That ain't beer anymore. Hear me out. Cream cheese on your hot dogs? Oh, shit. You know what I've always seen? I've seen people do that spiral slice on the hot dog, and then they put bacon in there. And then I saw one that was, they took bacon and they took, what is it, string cheese? And they peeled some string cheese out and they wrapped string cheese and bacon down a spiral slice hot dog. Looked pretty legit. Not gonna lie. But I wouldn't doubt cream cheese is pretty good on hot dogs. Cream cheese isn't worth. So you know what I like to do? I like to do a really hot salsa and then get some like room temp or a slightly warmed cream cheese and just put it in there so you can dip cream cheese and salsa. Also, pro tip, if you've never done this before, if you have like a pellet smoker or a good like cold smoker, keep it as low as possible. Like on a cold smoker, obviously you don't have to keep it low. But if you have like a pellet smoker, just get that shit started. I think most pellet smokers go up to like 150. Get a block of cream cheese. Get your favorite seasoning. Completely coat that cream cheese in your favorite seasoning. Put it in your smoker and just smoke that shit for like an hour, 2 hours. And then pull it off the grill and just use like chips and dip, man. It is legit. It is a huge party favorite in my house. I'll score it too. Like score the top, whatever side you have up at the top. I score it so when it starts to like, you know, warm up and dry out a little bit, it'll spread and it'll look kind of like, you know, crisscross scored marks. Looks good, man. It's good for presentation. If you don't care about presentation, you don't have to score it. It's good either way. Is Pantheon still keeping population? Yes. Yep. Yeah, Black Moon, when I logged on 3.5 hours ago, was full. Black Moon 0. You need to know the most useless talent you have? Oof, what is the context? Most useless talent Smiter has. I mean, that's a pretty good useless talent though. Like you find bugs in every computer program. that would be, I wouldn't qualify that as completely useless because it's good if you're like a tester. But yeah, that's definitely on the top of the list, sir. All this drinking made me have a strong urge to crack open a Modelo. Ooh, Modelo. I have not had a Modelo in a minute. Gotcha. Good, I've just not had time to play. Yeah, I've been kind of in a holding pattern on Pantheon for a minute. One, because I don't want to burn out. I know I'm gonna, as soon as Druid drops, I have to level the shit out of it so that I can do my Druid Unleashed video. So I know I'm gonna be playing a lot. Two, I didn't want to burn out. Three, I have not really felt all that good. So if for those who don't know, I had a root canal done a couple of years ago, and apparently they didn't get all of it, like all of what they needed to get out. So I got an infection under my tooth number 30, which is second from the back. And my jaw ballooned way up, and it was like really, really bad pain. So I had to go have the root canal redone. And then the infection was bad. Like the tooth was so much better after the root canal. Within like 2 days, it was fine. But the gum line in my jaw had swollen up so bad that we had to go do, what is it, like a week worth of antibiotics. And then we had to do a full steroid pack. And then it went away to the point where I had a small, like little spot. And I thought it was all better. And then I woke up the next morning and the gum had started puffing back up and getting real nasty again. So I went back in and they said it was just a flare up. They irrigated it, made sure it looked good. And put me back on antibiotics and steroid pack. So I'm finishing I've just finished all that stuff. So it was a rough couple weeks. So, and you know, if you ever had tooth pain, that shit sucks because it will not go away. Like you can't take, most medicine doesn't work on tooth pain. So population has dropped a little. Yes. So on some servers, yes, on like Black Moon, you're gonna have plenty of population, but I do believe I have noticed a drop in population, but there's still plenty, at least on this server. It might be different on whatever server that you've played on, though. So that's fair. Last year I had 3 root canals, pulled 7 teeth. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 7 or 8 years ago, I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth taken out. Some of them were partially buried in the back, which was just going to cause problems long term. So the doctor asked me, he's like, hey, you want to, like, you know, every visit come in and just take one out? And I was like, nope, take all of them shits out. Just grab all of them, pull them out. Let's be done with it. So. And then a couple years ago, I had this small spot that it just like it was a pinhole that I guess had gone down. And that's why they want to do the root canal. So. Yep. Yeah, that's what they did with this one. So I have obviously I have a metal crown on top of it, which is really cool. The dentist that did it, they printed it or made it in-house. So I didn't have to wait for like a temporary or have a temporary put on and then wait for the full. So they put it on there. But the guy that I went to, they sent me to a specialist. That's all he does is root canals. And he went in and he put like these, I guess, I don't know if they're called J hooks or whatever, but they redid the root canal, but he did it through like a little tiny hole in the existing crown. So they just patched the crown. So it didn't cost me another like $800 or whatever it was to get the crown redone, which was fantastic. He did a great job. Most of it was just, you know, like just the pain and recovery. Yeah, right? Yeah, get one done, you'd be like, I ain't going back to that shit. Just get all that done at once. Oh my lord, look how the manor looks now. Manor looks gloomy as shit. Let's get that good boy out. They went overboard with atmospheric effects. I agree. It's a little much here now, but it looks cool. It does. I would like to see them tone it down slightly, but I prefer this over just the green haze. The only problem I'm gonna have is if it's at night and you can't see the moon, because seeing that green moonrise from here was fucking awesome. I thought it was so cool. So I hope you can still see that, but we'll find out. Just burritos. Oh, which, by the way, chat, I do have an announcement. Some of you may already know that you were on the stream earlier this week. I became a grandfather on Monday. So cheers to me. That's why I was pouring this. My oldest daughter had her daughter, which I was not ready for, but I'm super happy about. And her name is Sylphie, and she is absolutely adorable. We call her our little hobbits now. She's super cute. So I've got to spend a bunch of money on some Ohio State gear for her. You know, maybe some Cowboys gear, maybe not. It's not a good time to buy right now. But yeah, super stoked. So it was a long weekend. She ended up having to have a C-section because there were some complications, but she is happy, she is healthy, and that's all that matters. And I'm glad both of them are doing well. Get her some Broncos gear. I could be persuaded. I could be persuaded. Yeah, she's super adorable. We might post a picture maybe on our Discord, which if you want to get to our Discord and you haven't been there yet, just do !Discord or !Socials with an S, or with it, two S's actually, but ending in an S, to get to our socials. We're on X, we're on obviously YouTube. If you haven't seen YouTube content, I would be shocked, but you can go to my YouTube. I've got class overview videos for stuff, leveling guides. Due to some of the health stuff, I have not been as active on YouTube, and for that I apologize, but you can look forward to more content coming very soon. So we lost somebody when we first got here. It looked like it was our other summoner. Looks like he took off. Womp womp. Oh, speaking of, I need to buff my pet. What am I doing? So chat, what's everybody's favorite class in Pantheon right now? Summoner? Summoner is good. Summoner is good. I'm curious to see what they end up doing with it in its entirety. And I really hope they make changes to this forecast for one. Necro is fantastic. So, Ark, have you got your Necro to 20 yet? Like 7 is good, 12 is really good, 20 is fantastic. Your 18-second fear? Oh my gosh. Right, I think it's 18-second, right? At 20? Yeah, warrior damage is lower. Yep. Oh, is it? Okay. Ark, you're making me want to play with my Necro now, sir. Only played Summoner past 10, so hard to say. Yeah, this one's 14 right now. So my Dire Lord is 21. I slowed him way down. I was like 18 in the first like week or two. I would say on week 2 I was probably 18. Stayed around there for a little bit, just ran around, did a bunch of shit, was like checking out some of the new mobs and stuff, trying to get like oriented with the new zones and then get camps established, trying to get as much knowledge as I could for the leveling guide, soloing guide, all that kind of stuff. Son of a bitch, I got here, got a group, and the group is breaking up. I didn't even get a single kill. These guys got 6. Looks like it. They have a level 21 sitting here at Manor? Jesus. All right. You expect a nerf on the Necro? That, if I've seen anything occur, it is nerfs. So I would anticipate that would be accurate. But I need to build another static group up is what I need to do. So I know we've lost some people to different things. So we need to build another static group back up, do a little bit of leveling. Torque, you feel like tanking? I do know I played the last time I played the Dire Lord. I don't know I don't know if they've made changes to the aggro, but I had a good like bit of trouble trying to maintain aggro, which was really weird. Even with what is Nightmarish or whatever. Get you a couple of those huge swords I have and you'll be interested. I think yeah, we can probably buy some. Probably get that handled. time is it? It's 9. Well, I don't want to sit here and make you guys watch me LFG. We don't have a static. We don't have a group going right now. So I think we may call it for the evening. I think we may call it for the evening. But I greatly appreciate everybody chiming in, sharing your feedback, hanging out with us, the support, subs, follows, etc. I've said it 100 times, but I'll say it again so that you new folks may maybe not have heard it. Love you guys. I greatly appreciate you, whether you're lurking, following, sharing this with your friends, that kind of stuff. I greatly appreciate all of it. But we're going to call it here. We will be streaming again tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. So feel free to tune in. Try to get maybe a group or something, or play a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I have been playing a little bit of WoW class or WoW retail recently. The War Within, I bought it, so I was hoping Druid would be here by now. It is not, because I know we'll be playing the shit out of some Druids. So if you don't want to roll a Druid and you want to watch somebody play a Druid, I will be streaming a lot of Druid when it is released. So definitely feel free to be here for that. So we will definitely be doing more Pantheon. I don't want to say that we're not going to be doing Pantheon, but we will be doing that. So, but anyway, I greatly appreciate you guys. We're going to finish this whiskey. Thank you again so much for the support, hanging out, subs, etc. If you haven't followed me on YouTube, do !YouTube, go over there, hit me with a subscribe. Got some content over there for you to look at. If you're interested in different classes, solo and group leveling guides. They're not all inclusive, but they were good for the point of release. Things obviously are changing from day to day. But yeah, I greatly appreciate all you guys. Again, love you, and I will see you next time tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central. Feel free to tune in. All right, you guys have a good night. Oh, 150 point raffle going on to close out the stream. Look at that, Bostova, 5 gift subs on the credits. You got to do join, Twerk. Got to do join. $180, exclamation mark, join. Come on, guys. Don't miss your chance at Arthaxium for a giveaway. You can also do points, exclamation mark points, to figure out how many points you have. And then you can do exclamation mark enter space and then whatever it is divided by 50 to get your entries. Or you can hold them for a future drawing. Torque with the unanimous victory. Congrats, Torque.